Chapter 2306. 2306-2306, Battle and Breakthrough. Hold on, wait for the Lord outside to save us. Yong Xingping and Commander Li roared with all their might. One of them desperately resisted the ice drill crocodile and the other desperately attacked the surrounding formation. Damn it! Commander Li's face was extremely ferocious, and his eyes were full of blood. When they came, they never expected this outcome. The other party killed their soldiers without any restraint and even trapped and killed them. For today's matter, I will definitely kill you. He looked at Wang Xian with an extremely ferocious expression. His blood-red eyes swept across Wang Xian who was behind him. Today's hatred, today's hatred. Only by killing him would he be able to vent his hatred. Ah! He let out a wild roar. He was fighting against more than 100 war pets by himself. Even he could only hold on for a few minutes. Boom! 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 Yong Xingping was desperately attacking the formation at the side. Now, they could only escape by breaking the formation. Chempate. Wang Xian stared at all of them. His eyes were filled with coldness. His gaze swept across the group of eternal Lord-level powerhouses. He had heard clearly what Yong Xingping and Commander Li said. There were powerhouses on the Sky Sea Island. They would definitely help them when they broke the formation later. After all, they were soldiers at the front line. Since that's the case, let's increase our strength. Wang Xian's eyes were sparkling. He waved his arm and grabbed at the two soldiers at the first level of the Eternal Lord. Commander, save us. Seeing Wang Xian making a move, the two soldiers at the first level of the Eternal Lord roared in fear. Stop! If you dare to kill my men, our soldiers at the front line of the mysterious sky will definitely not let you off. Yong Xingping turned his head to look. His face was filled with frost as he shouted sternly. Bang! However, Wang Xian did not pay any attention to their roars. Two streams of energy wrapped around their bodies and pulled them over. With their strength, it was impossible for them to resist Wang Xian. Buzz! Wang Xian stared at the two of them. With a wave of his arm, a terrifying aura surged into their mind. At the same time, he unleashed soul capture. Buzz! The two of them were stunned. Wang Xian thought of something and released an expert who was hiding in the mother nest. The three of them stood there. Behind them, their eternal kingdom slowly emerged. Wood, wind, and light. The eternal kingdom with three attributes appeared behind them. Before it was completely solemn, the phantom image of the Dragon Palace appeared behind Wang Xian. Boom! 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 The virtual image of the Dragon Palace directly devoured the three eternal divine kingdoms. At the same time, in the boundless sea of the boundless starfield, the Dragon Palace, which was suppressing the entire boundless starfield, suddenly trembled. The level of the Dragon Palace is increasing. All members of the Dragon Palace, fly out immediately. Prime Minister Gui immediately said to all the members of the Dragon Palace. His eyes were filled with fervor. Dragon King, it's time to step into the eternal Divine Lord realm, he murmured, his eyes full of excitement. The Dragon King is invincible. All the members of the Dragon Palace knelt down and worshipped him piously. Boom! 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 In the next moment, the Dragon Palace directly rose into the sky, and an incomparably vast energy spread out in all directions. At this moment, everyone within a radius of 10 billion kilometers could sense the vast Dragon Palace in the sky, especially the aquatic creatures and humans near the boundless sea. They looked up in a daze, filled with awe. The Dragon Palace that was over 1,000 kilometers in diameter began to expand rapidly. The ocean-pacifying needle emitted golden light, as if it could stir up the entire boundless sea. Finally, the Dragon Palace slowly expanded to a radius of 5,000 kilometers, emitting a vast divine light. All the members of the Dragon Palace could sense the vastness and power of the Dragon Palace. Buzz! Dragon Palace, Level 7. Dragon Master, Wang Xian, Eternal God Lord Level 1 Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon. Buildings. Dragon King Palace, Level 7, increases the Dragon King's cultivation speed and recovery speed by 384 times. Dragon Transformation Pool, Level 7, absorbing dragon blood can give birth to a dragon, origin, 254. Dragon Gate, Level 7, a fish can only become a dragon if it leaps over the Dragon Gate, effective against creatures below Undying Emperor. Ocean Pacifying Needle, Level 7, Pillar of the Dragon Palace, pacifying 8,000 kilometers of the Dragon Palace, increasing 1,000% of the combat strength of the members of the Dragon Palace. Dragon Cave, Level 7, with 1,000,000 dragon caves, the cultivation speed of the creatures in the Dragon Cave will increase by 256 times. Dragon Field, Level 7, martial arts practice in the Dragon Field, increasing comprehension by 128 times. Dragon Array, Level 7, Dragon Palace Array, concealment, defense, gathering of spiritual energy, wormhole, detection, attack. Spiritual items. Ancestral Tree, Level, able to return the soul of creatures below Eternal Lord level. Activate the spiritual intelligence of creatures. Increases the speed of fire attribute cultivators by 400%. Increases the speed of wood attribute cultivators by 400%, and lightning attribute cultivators by 400%. Annex, Dragon Transformation Pool to nurture dragon species. Current dragon species, Golden Swordfish, Thunder Shrimp, Demon Monkey, Strange Demon, Light Thorn, Hydra, Dragon Turtle, Yakshaw, Clamgirl, Golden Lobster, Starwood Dragon Species, Fire Phoenix Dragon Species. Special Buildings. Dragon Nest, Dragon of Devouring, none. Dragon of Devouring, energy consumption can be used to create its own insect-like species. The queen insect feeds on various metal materials. The upgrade of the Dragon Palace gave off an invincible aura. The attributes of the Level 7 Dragon Palace appeared in Wang Xian's mind. A smile appeared on his face. At the same time, within the formation, with the upgrade of the Dragon Palace, he naturally advanced to the realm of the Eternal Lord. Around him, a 7-colored divine dragon appeared and circled around his body. Roar! The 7-colored divine dragon suddenly shot out a terrifying radiance. It raised its head and let out a roar. Roar! Roar! With a roar, everyone in the formation and all the war pets trembled. They raised their heads and looked at Wang Xian. Their hearts trembled violently. The entire space suddenly fell silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing. What kind of power is this? Yong Xingping and Commander Li's eyes were filled with fear. Under their senses, Wang Xian's strength seemed to have increased by a lot in an instant. His aura just now was at most on par with theirs. Now, it was much higher. It was almost comparable to the Lord God who had mastered 7 laws. What kind of roar is this? At this moment, the divine dragon that was coiled around Wang Xian's body let out a dragon roar and penetrated the formation that he had set up. When everyone outside heard this roar, their faces changed drastically. Their faces were filled with fear. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, more than 20 Eternal Lord level powerhouses were hovering above the formation. A hint of solemnity flashed across the eyes of the old man in the lead. The roar from within actually made him feel a powerful threat. What exactly happened? The old man looked down warily. He had been prepared to attack directly, but now he was afraid. Chapter 2307. 2307 2307 fought and broke through. Island Master, the one fighting inside the array formation, is the boss of the Dragon Palace's battle pets and the thousands of soldiers on the front line. It seems that the soldiers on the front line came to commandeer all the battle pets of the Dragon Palace just now. The boss didn't agree and the battle broke out immediately. Around the array formation, a middle-aged man who understood the situation flew to the sky and reported to the Island Master of the Sky Sea Island. Soldiers at the front line? Requisition war pets. The old man of the Island Lord was slightly shocked, and a trace of astonishment appeared on his face. While he was shocked, his face was also a bit solemn. These formations were set up by a group of soldiers. The Island Lord continued to ask. It seems. Not. The middle-aged man was a bit uncertain. It should be the formation set up by the boss. I didn't see a group of soldiers set up the formation. This is bad. The Island Lord's expression changed slightly when he heard his words. He stared at the middle-aged man and immediately asked, "Are there any generals among the soldiers?" Those who could become generals were mostly those who had mastered 6 or more laws. The rest who wanted to become generals would have to earn great military merit. No, there are 2 commanders leading the team. The middle-aged man shook his head with certainty. Everyone knew very well that 2 commanders were leading the team. Everyone, retreat. After hearing that, the island owner's face darkened. A formation compass appeared in his hand. The roar from the 2 commanders was the Dragon Palace's pet owner. With such a terrifying roar, all the frontline soldiers would be killed. Phew. At the same time, Wang Xian, who was inside the formation, sensed the increase in his strength. A smile appeared on his face. The 9 wisps of divine fire had reached the first level of the Eternal Lord. This was a qualitative improvement for him. The current him could fight against the Eternal Lord who had mastered 7 laws. Wang Xian took a glance at everything inside the formation. Commander Li was still desperately fighting against the battle pet. He reckoned that he would be killed in no time. Yong Xingping was attacking the formation. However, there were 2 defensive formations inside. If he wanted to break them, he would need at least another minute. The divine pills are not completely settled yet. I'm still a little lacking if I want to upgrade them. Wang Xian looked at the remaining pills and a smile appeared on his face. There was still half of the deposit from Fu Guo that he had yet to pay. After paying, he would be able to upgrade them again. At that time, he, who was at level 2 of the Eternal Lord, would be able to fight against the Lord God who had mastered 8 laws. However, he was strong enough now. Name, Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level, Eternal God Lord Level 1, 6th form of the Divine Dragon Transformation. Origin, 1/10. Supernatural ability, ruling over the water tribe below one's level. Devouring creatures to extract the origin. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, Divine Dragon Transformation. Supernatural ability, soul capture, spirit attachment, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Dragon Eyes. Aspect, 5 Elements Grinding, Dragon Kingdom in the palm, Dragon Head under the heavens, Dragon Body of 10,000 miles, Yin-Yang Poles, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Arms Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Swing. Law, metal, wood, water, fire, earth, light and darkness, level 1. Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace owned, level 7. Members of Dragon Palace, 165633. The 6th transformation of the Divine Dragon Transformation, grasping the laws of 7 attributes. Energy has become the power of origin. Wang Xian revealed a smile as he looked at the field in front of him. Crack, crack, crack. Ha! All of a sudden, Wang Xian raised his head and saw that the sky above the formation was beginning to crack. An even more powerful energy was attacking the formation that he had set up. There's an expert attacking. He raised his eyebrows slightly. He sensed the opponent's strength and realized that the opponent was stronger than him. It was possible that the other party was an Eternal God Lord rank 7 array master. After setting up the array, he could contend against an Eternal God Lord rank 8 expert. There are experts outside. There are experts outside attacking. We are saved. Some of the soldiers saw the array slowly collapse. Their faces revealed a look of survival, and their faces were full of excitement. Sir outside, kill him, kill him. A shrill and cold roar came out from Commander Li's mouth. He hurriedly dodged the attacks of the war pets one by one. His entire body was in a sorry state as he roared ferociously. When he saw that the formation was broken, he hurriedly fled outside. Sir, kill him. Yong Xingping roared ferociously with the same murderous aura. Roar, roar, roar. In the next moment, more than 100 war pets of the level of the Eternal Lord let out a cold roar in unison. Wang Xian moved his body and stood on the body of the ice drill alligator at the front. His eyes were filled with coldness. The formation dissipated and everyone saw the scene inside. Nearly 1,000 soldiers fled outside as if they were running for their lives. Their cold and shrill voices reverberated throughout the entire Sky Sea Island. However, this was not the most shocking part. What was shocking was that there were more than 100 battle pets in the middle. The 2,000-meter-long ice drill alligator was floating in the center, emitting a cold aura. Behind them, 95 northern howling sky wolves were lined up in a row, their auras making people's hearts palpitate. Just this scene alone had shocked the entire Sky Sea Island. These are so many war pets, oh my god, this. Is this the Dragon Palace war pet? An extremely terrifying Dragon Palace war pet. This war pet is too heaven-defying. More than 100 war pets were equivalent to more than 100 experts at the level of the Eternal Lord. Such strength made everyone's heart palpitate. In front of these 100 war pets, the thousands of soldiers could not be compared at all. How dare you guys come to the Dragon Palace to recruit war pets? Who gave you the courage? Hee. Wang Xian glanced at all of them with a face full of mockery. You're dead for killing the soldiers at the front line of Blackwater. You're dead for sure. Yong Xingping stared at Wang Xian with a ferocious expression and roared with killing intent. Sir, kill him, kill him. He roared and looked at the island owner beside him. I'm a teacher of the mysterious Sky Academy. How dare you come here to forcefully recruit my war pets? Who gave you the order? You still want to kill me? Everyone involved in today's matter must die. Wang Xian revealed a hint of brutality on his face. He moved his body and instantly charged towards Yong Xingping. Everyone, stop. When the island owner saw this scene, he frowned slightly when he heard Wang Xian's word. A frontline commander and a teacher of the mysterious Sky Academy. Both of them were core experts of the mysterious Sky Territory. However, the frontline actually came to commandeer the battle beasts of the Dragon Palace's war pets. Did they need to send experts over directly? They were all core experts of the mysterious Sky Territory. Couldn't they just give the order directly? Then, why did they cause such a huge commotion and even lost a life? Was it a game between the experts? The island owner felt a headache. He swept his gaze across the artificial intelligence. After confirming Wang Xian's identity, he didn't know which side he should help. Die. Wang Xian ignored the island owner's words. He moved his body and charged directly at Yong Xingping and Commander Li. The terrifying aura caused their expressions to change drastically. When the island owner saw that Wang Xian was ignoring him, his face turned black. He moved his arm and prepared to set up a formation. Roar. However, at this moment, the war pets roared in unison and flew to the front of the island owner. Their roars shook the world. All the war pets have been bought by the powerhouses of the royal family of the Federation. If there are any casualties, you will be responsible, Wang Xian said and continued to attack Yong Xingping and Commander Li. The island lord's face darkened. Yong Xingping and Commander Li's faces changed drastically, and their hearts pounded violently. Chapter 2308. 2308 2308 charged to the front line. Bind. The island lord's expression was extremely ugly. He was naturally very clear about the Dragon Palace's battle pets. He was also clear about the arrival of the experts from the Sword Domain, the front line, the land of battle techniques, and the Federation. However, he did not expect such a thing to happen. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. With a light shout, the water ropes directly wrapped around all the battle pets. With his strength, he could still suppress all the battle pet. Protect. Following that, he waved his arm again and a powerful defensive formation was formed. The formation surrounded nearly 1,000 warriors who had yet to reach the Eternal Lord realm. Then, he stood there and did not move. As for Wang Xian attacking the two commanders, he did not interfere either. If you can't beat him, you can escape. If he protects you before you reach the Lord realm, it will be an explanation to the generals at the front line. As for the experts of the Eternal Lord, it has nothing to do with me if I don't run away and die. Damn it, damn it. Just you wait, just you wait. When Commander Li saw Wang Xian charging over, his face was filled with malevolence. However, he didn't dare to fight him. His figure flickered slightly. Buzz. Commander Li's figure disappeared, followed by Yong Xingping. Let's go. The rest of the experts who had reached the level of Eternal Lord did not dare to hesitate and left in an instant. Gulp. The warriors who were protected by the formation could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Their faces were extremely pale. They looked at Wang Xian, who was in front of them. Their eyes were filled with fear. Escape. Wang Xian stared at the spot where they had disappeared. His eyes were filled with frost. He swept his gaze around and saw the captive battle pets and the soldiers who were being protected. You can't kill ordinary soldiers. I have already reported this matter to the front line and the lords of the Shentian Academy. When the island owner saw Wang Xian's gaze, he reminded him coldly, I know. I will only kill the 2 commanders. Release the battle pets. Wang Xian said to him. The island owner took a glance and released all the war pets with a wave of his arm. Roar. Roar. The war pets let out a low roar and flew toward Wang Xian. Let's go to the front line. Wang Xian's figure moved and landed on the ice drill crocodile. He pointed at the defense line at the front line and flew away immediately. To the front line? What is he doing? The island owner's expression changed. The surrounding experts were also dumbfounded. The owner of the Dragon Palace's war pet was standing on top of the war pet and aggressively flying toward the front line. Was he going to chase them to the front line? This was too fierce. What kind of place was the front line? It was the battlefield of the Dark Sky Domain against the sea monsters, and it was where many experts gathered. There were more than 10 peak eternal god lords there, not to mention experts who had mastered 7 or 8 laws. It was a little heaven-defying to see the owner of the Dragon Palace's war pet charging straight at them. The island lord's eyes widened slightly, and a speechless expression appeared on his face. This matter couldn't be blown up, right? After all, the owner of the Dragon Palace's war pet was also a teacher of the Mysterious Sky Academy. Forget it, I'll inform the Mysterious Sky Academy and the frontline general about this matter. I won't bother with it anymore. The island lord looked at the damaged area below and immediately beckoned for someone to deal with it. At the same time, he sent this news to the academy and the frontline. Those 2 damned fellows. I must kill them no matter what. At this moment, Wang Xian was standing on the ice drill alligator. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The 2 of them charged straight at him. Even if he didn't make a move, the other party would still attack him. He wouldn't let such a person off. Even if the other party was the commander of the front line, he would still die if he provoked him. Sky formation, my strength has increased. Do you have any powerful curses? Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly and immediately asked the God Emperor of Sky Formation, Yes, you are really powerful. You are able to fight against a God Lord with 7 laws even though you have just stepped into the Eternal Lord realm. At this moment, the God Emperor of Sky Formation, who had sensed Wang Xian's strength, was full of astonishment. It had only been a short while, but Wang Xian already possessed such terrifying combat strength. If he was given a few years, wouldn't he be able to reach the Divine Emperor realm? When that time came, there was hope for him to be resurrected. The curse of the Eternal Lord is at level 6. Thousands of shadows surround him. This curse can kill people. The curse of the Eternal Lord is at level 5. Without the help of experts, he will almost certainly die. As the God of Heaven's formation spoke, he started to imitate Wang Xian. Stop! Wang Xian ordered his battle pets. He immediately calmed down and learned the 1,000 shadows surrounding curse. It would take a long time to learn an array formation. Fortunately, Wang Xian had the guidance of the God of Heaven's formation. Even if he couldn't master it, it was enough as long as he could use it. It took a full 10 minutes. Under the guidance of the God of Heaven's formation, Wang Xian managed to carve 2,000 shadows surrounding curse arrays. Each formation took him a few minutes. If this was a battle, he would have been killed long ago. Wang Xian had already collected the blood essence of the 2 of them during the battle earlier and started to cast the curse. Our academy's teachers are fighting with the soldiers at the front line. And now they are rushing to the front line. At this moment, on a tower in the middle of the Shentian Academy, a director who was responsible for the affairs of teachers received this message with a stunned expression. This teacher seems to be. Looking at the information sent by the island owner of the Tianhai Island, he felt that it was somewhat familiar. He frowned slightly. Teacher Wang Xian from the formation court. That's right, it's him. The old man recalled the incident that happened in the academy yesterday. Although he wasn't involved in it, he still had some understanding of it. It's him again. Her brows were tightly knitted. She immediately contacted Director Jin from the formation court and contacted a few vice principals. The teacher of the academy had engaged in a battle with the frontline commander, and a life had even been lost. This was a huge matter. In less than a minute, figures appeared in the office one after another. The old man displayed the information and turned his gaze to Dean Jin. This. The faces of Dean Jin, the vice school heads of the Beast Tamer School, and the others were slightly embarrassed. Causing trouble again? A bitter expression appeared on the vice school head of the Beast Tamer School. To actually dare to fight with the frontline soldiers, regardless of whether it is right or wrong, such a teacher must be severely punished. Not to mention, he even killed someone. An old man said with a solemn expression, "The frontline soldiers are not under the responsibility of the law enforcement department. If someone kills the frontline commander, the frontline generals will definitely kill him." An old woman beside him raised her eyebrows. When the frontline soldiers fought with the sea monsters, a large number of people died every day. In the mysterious sky territory, the frontline soldiers had great authority. If a soldier made a mistake, they could only hand it over to the frontline for punishment. The law enforcement department of the mysterious sky territory was not qualified to enforce the law on the frontline. Now that someone dared to kill the frontline soldiers and chase after the frontline commanders, the frontline generals would definitely kill them. Even if the other party was a teacher of the Shentian Academy, let's go to the front line immediately. Don't let the matter blow up. Director Jin said with an embarrassed expression. We're going there. A vice principal looked at him in puzzlement. I'll inform the principal now. Let's go there first. We can't let the people at the front line hurt Wang Xian. Director Jin rubbed his brows and said immediately. Chapter 2309. 2309-2309 had arrived at the front lines. UN. Upon hearing Director Jin's words, the faces of the 8 or 9 people around them revealed a stunned expression. Inform the principal. Is there a need to inform the principal about such a small matter? The principal is so busy. A vice principal raised his eyebrows slightly. Only the Formation School and Beast Tamer School knew about yesterday's incident. No one else knew about it. Yesterday, the parents of the students were suppressed, and 2 of the top students of the Beast Tamer School were killed. It was this teacher who did it. The principal said that we should just kill him. The vice principal of the Beast Tamer School said softly as he looked at Director Jin beside him. What? The crowd was stunned as their gazes fell on Director Jin. He was sent here by the principal, and the principal pays close attention to him. I'm not too sure about the exact situation either. The last time he killed someone, it was also the principal who said so. So be it. Seeing them looking at her, Director Jin said bitterly. She didn't think that this fellow would be able to cause so much trouble. Just yesterday, he had killed the parents of a student and 2 prodigies, and today, he had killed the commander of the front lines. Maybe he knows that even if he kills him, the dean will not say anything. He might even protect him. Director Jin thought to himself. Then let's go over immediately. The generals at the front line are all more hot-tempered than the last one. A deputy dean said immediately. Let's go. Let's inform the generals at the front line first. We'll go over immediately. Everyone nodded and flew towards the teleportation formation immediately. Since this matter involved the dean, they didn't dare to slack off at all. However, what surprised them was that Wang Xian was actually the boss of the Dragon Palace's war pet. Then, wasn't he also a beast tamer master? Even if he was a powerful array master, he was also a beast tamer master. His talent was too heaven-defying. Perhaps, this was also the reason why their dean valued that young man. When the experts of the Mysterious Sky Academy rushed to the front line, they were located in an area covered by a huge array at the front line. This huge array was covered by an extremely powerful array, and the nomological powers were emitting terrifying undulations. This was a sky-reaching array personally set up by the Mysterious Sky Territory's son of God Shen Tianzi. The huge array was created for the Eternal God Lords, and almost all of the Eternal God Lords' eternal divine kingdoms were here. At this moment, Two figures flew out of the formation. They looked at each other with extremely ugly expressions and landed in a huge command room at the front line. They dared to kill us and our subordinates. We must avenge them. We must cut them into 1,000 pieces. Yong Xingping growled at Commander Li with a ferocious expression. We will report to the general and kill them, but we. Commander Li's expression was ferocious, and it kept changing. The other party had killed his subordinates, and the front line would punish him, but they would also be punished. Even if it's a heavy punishment, even if it's a demotion, we have to kill him. Yong Xingping clenched his fists and roared coldly. Come, let's go in. The two took a deep breath, bowed, and walked inside. General Xian, you must stand up for us. The two of them walked inside with a bow and an aggrieved look on their faces. However, as soon as they entered, they felt that the atmosphere was not right. Inside, 4 or 5 generals were sitting there. When they saw them coming, their eyes showed a cold look. Island Lord Song has already told us about the Tianhai Island. Who gave you the order to commandeer the Dragon Palace's war pets? A general on the left shouted with an extremely embarrassed expression. General, we admit this crime. However, the Dragon Palace's war pets shop was originally in our mysterious sky territory. They didn't sell the war pets to US first and instead sold them to others. I can't take this lying down. We originally wanted to bring him here, but we didn't expect him to directly attack and kill our soldiers on the front line. Commander Li immediately knelt on the ground and said with a face full of embarrassment. Yong Xingping also hurriedly knelt down and lowered his head. HMPH, you made the decision on your own accord, so there will naturally be punishment. However, that mysterious Sky Academy teacher dared to kill our frontline soldiers. He must be tired of living. Our soldiers can only die on the battlefield, they can't die anywhere else. A general roared with a face full of awe. When Yong Xingping and Commander Li heard the general's words, a trace of malevolence flashed across their faces. Even if they were to be punished, that fellow had to die. Since the general had spoken, no one could save him. Ah! At this moment, the bodies of the two men suddenly trembled. A shadow suddenly rushed out from their bodies. The shadow looked strange and bloody, and it directly charged towards them. The eyes of the two people who had not reacted showed confusion and fear. The intense pain on their bodies and the huge wound on their chest made them extremely panic. In front, the 5 generals who were sitting on the chairs were slightly shocked when they saw the shadow that suddenly appeared from their bodies. Buzz! At this moment, 2 more shadows rushed out from their bodies, and with the bloody and strange smell, they attacked them again. Ah! Ah! The shadows seemed to have no physical body and once again left large wounds on their bodies. This time, a trace of fear appeared in their eyes. What was this thing? Buzz! A third shadow appeared and attacked them once again just like before. This time, the 2 of them hurriedly dodged to the side. Peng! In the room, a general made a move and directly bound the black shadow. This is... A general stood up doubtfully and sized up the black shadow. However, things were not so simple. Another black shadow appeared from their bodies and directly attacked them. The 5 generals raised their eyebrows and waved their arms again. A general waved his energy and wrapped the bodies of the 2 of them to check. Buzz! Even though there was energy wrapped around them, a black shadow appeared from their bodies again and attacked them. At this moment, Yong Xingping and Commander Li's faces were filled with fear. What was going on? Why was there a black shadow coming out from their bodies to attack them? If it wasn't for the generals, they might have been killed by the black shadow. It's a curse. Only a curse array can attack in such a strange way. A general said with a solemn expression. A curse array. The other generals were slightly shocked. This curse array can kill 2 people. It seems that the other party wants to kill them. The eyes of the general who spoke flashed with an icy cold light. It's the boss of the Dragon Palace's battle pets. It's definitely him. It's definitely him. General, save us. When the 2 of them heard the general's words, they immediately cried out for help. At this moment, their faces were incomparably pale. He killed our frontline soldiers and now he wants to kill 2 of our commanders. He's courting death. Immediately send people to punish him. A general roared with a face full of killing intent. Roar, roar, roar. Just as he finished speaking, roars that shook the sky were transmitted over. This roar, full of unbridled. Chapter 2310. 2310 should be the second generation. At the back of the Blackwater front line, Wang Xian was standing on the ice drill alligator. Behind him, there were more than 100 sea monsters of the level of the Eternal Lord. He looked at the Blackwater front line military camp, which was more than 10,000 kilometers in front of him. His eyes were flashing with a cold look. The roars of the battle pets shook the world. In front of him, Wang Xian could feel the energy that was filled with palpitations. There were at least 100 people who were stronger than him in the entire Blackwater front line. However, he still barged in unscrupulously. His biggest trump card was not Shen Tianzi, but the fact that he had advanced to the level of the Eternal Divine Lord. With his current strength, it would be very difficult to kill him without the Immortal King and the formation to trap him. At most, he could make a big fuss today and escape back to the Dragon Palace in the Boundless Sea with his tail between his legs. At the same time, he could also go back and visit Shu Qing and the rest. The next time he went back, Wang Xian would call Shen Tianzi over to take revenge. Commander Yong, Commander Li, get out here. Wang Xian stared at the entire front-line military camp. With a loud roar, it spread across an area of more than 10,000 kilometers. He's here. He actually dared to chase after us. General, kill him, kill him. At this moment, in the command room, Yong Xingping and Commander Li stood there with pale faces. When they heard the roar of their battle pets and heard this voice, they shouted at the 5 generals with a face full of killing intent. You're courting death, how dare you barge into our Blackwater frontlines? Today, I will chop him into pieces. A burly general's face revealed a thick murderous intent as he flew out. The other 4 generals also flew out with gloomy faces. The AI on one of the general's arms flickered, but at this moment, he did not open it to check the information. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Who dares to cause trouble at the front line of Blackwater? Are they courting death? HMPH, they dare to barge into our front line and cause a ruckus here. They are unforgivable. When the 5 generals flew out, the entire front line was also attracted by the roar of the war pet and the arrogant roar of Wang Xian. In an instant, more than 1,000 Eternal Lord experts flew out. In the entire Xian Heaven domain, the front line had the most expert. Among the 1,000 Eternal Godlords, there were many experts who had mastered 5 or 6 laws or more. They looked behind them and charged towards Wang Xian with a terrifying aura. Roar, roar. Faced with so many experts, the group of war pets also let out a low roar. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, an even more majestic figure flew towards the front. Generals were floating in the sky. In just a minute, more than 10 generals were staring at Wang Xian coldly. You are the boss of the Dragon Palace's war pets, the sinner who killed our soldiers? The 5 generals who flew over had murderous looks on their faces as they stared at Wang Xian furiously. Sinner. He. I came here to ask who ordered Commander Yong and Commander Li to lead the soldiers to my Dragon Palace's war pets to commandeer the pets. If you can't buy a pet, you can just take your men and rob it. Is this what you Blackwater frontline people do? Wang Xian's gaze swept across the more than 1,000 Eternal Divine Lords and landed on a few generals. He questioned in disdain. No matter what, those who dare to kill our frontline soldiers will have to pay the price. A general in the middle said with a grim expression. Haha, what a joke. Others are coming to snatch my things, yet I'm not retaliating. Are you Blackwater frontline people all bandits? Wang Xian laughed out loud and roared with a face full of sarcasm. Impudent! Impudent! Kill him! As soon as he finished his sentence, numerous strong men charged at Wang Xian with terrifying auras. Some generals were even prepared to make a move. Kill him! Kill him! At this moment, Yong Xingping and Commander Li flew over as well. They stared at Wang Xian with eyes filled with fury and malevolence. This fellow actually dared to come to the front line of Blackwater. He was here to court death. Wang Xian, what are you doing here? At this moment, a blue figure flew over. She stared at Wang Xian in disbelief and flew towards the front. She stopped in front of a few generals and cupped her hands at them. Little girl, do you know him? One of the generals looked at Xian Umbrella and asked in surprise. Great-grandpa, I know him. Xian Umbrella nodded and looked at Wang Xian, who was standing on an ice drill crocodile with hundreds of war pets following behind him. Come here and kill those two guys. Wang Xian looked at Xian Umbrella as well. He pointed at Yong Xingping and Commander Li indifferently. Impudent. You dare to come and kill us? You don't put us in your eyes at all. Today, no matter what your identity is, I will definitely kill you. An old man holding a walking stick had a furious look on his face. A compass immediately floated above his head. Great-grandpa, you can't. Seeing this scene, Xian and hurriedly stopped the old man. She knew that this guy was the son of the old ancestor's friend, and the old ancestor had personally taken care of him, so she absolutely couldn't kill him. Great-grandfather, he has some relationship with our old ancestor. Xian and hurriedly reminded the old man. The old man was slightly stunned. Everyone around was also slightly shocked, and Yong Xingping and Commander Li's faces turned pale. The soldiers of our Blackwater front line are guarding the front line. Every year, countless deaths and injuries occur. No matter what his identity is, if he dares to kill the soldiers of our Blackwater front line, he will have to pay a heavy price. Suppress him, and I will bear all the consequences. The eyes of the old man holding the walking stick flickered. However, very quickly, he raised his walking stick into the air and said coldly as before. The old man was the third-generation descendant of the mysterious Sky Clan. In other words, he was the grandson of the mysterious Sky Clan and ranked in the top 3 in the entire mysterious Sky Clan. Some consequences, some things, he could bear, but he also dared to do them. However, he had some misgivings when he changed the word kill to suppress. If he had a deep relationship with the patriarch, he wouldn't dare to kill him. Suppress him, suppress him. Yong Xingping and Commander Li mumbled as they clenched their fists tightly. They had a bad premonition. Even if they were to suppress the other party, they would be severely punished. When Xian Umbrella heard her great-grandfather's decision, she was also slightly silent. She looked at Wang Xian. This fellow was too arrogant. He was so arrogant that he directly brought over 100 battle pets and charged over. This was the front line of the Blackwater region. It was the battlefield where all the experts of the Xian Heaven region gathered. There were more than 100 descendants of the Xian Heaven region. If you were arrogant, the descendants of the Xian Heaven region would dare to punish you. Even if you had a relationship with the patriarch. Mph, I can't kill you this time. I can kill you next time. When Wang Xian heard their conversation, his gaze landed on Yong Xingping and Commander Li. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. Impudent. Suppress him. The old man with a walking stick shouted immediately. Yes, General. The few generals beside him nodded immediately. A terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. Stop. Old man, stop. At this moment, more than 10 figures flew out from the teleportation formation of the front line of the Blackwater Formation. Chapter 2311. 2311-2311 became the second generation. Stop, old man, stop. A sudden voice sounded, causing the few generals who were about to make a move to be slightly stunned. Boom boom boom. At the teleportation array, the group of Mysterious Sky Academy's upper echelons who were rushing over at high speed erupted with their might at this moment and flew over. Xiao Jin, why are you all here? The old man with a walking stick waved his hand and looked at the group of Shentian powerhouses who were flying over. Among more than a dozen people, the weakest one was an Eternal Lord powerhouse who had mastered 9 laws. 2/3 of the high-ranking officials of the Shentian Academy had arrived. Dean Jin's face was filled with helplessness when he saw the battle formation at the front line of the Blackwater Academy. He looked at Wang Xian who was in front of him. He looked at Wang Xian who was riding on a level 5 battle pet of the Eternal Lord. He looked like he was not afraid of the world and was even more speechless. There were many experts who were stronger than him. He was still so arrogant. It was obvious that he was relying on the patriarch and the headmaster. Old man, Dismiss everyone. Director Jin said to him. The old man who was holding a walking stick looked at the surroundings when he saw them rushing over. Do what you have to do. Don't stay here and watch the show. He waved his arm and the thousands of experts around him dispersed immediately. Before leaving, some of them looked at Wang Xian curiously. This fellow must have an extraordinary background. Teacher Wang, let's forget about this matter. Director Jin looked at Wang Xian and said helplessly. This fellow had killed 3 people in the academy yesterday. Today, he dared to come to the Blackwater front line to kill people. This fellow was too arrogant. The Black Heaven Academy and the front line of the Blackwater region had the highest number of experts in the entire Black Heaven domain. If he was so arrogant in these 2 places, wouldn't he be going to heaven in other places? Of course, she didn't dare to teach Wang Xian a lesson. After all, he was someone whom the dean had personally given to her. Furthermore, the dean had personally given the order to kill him yesterday. The 2 of them led the warriors directly to my shop and asked me to take out all of my battle pets. They even said that they wanted to requisition them. I want to know who gave the order. It's obvious that the 2 of them have bad intentions. I can't keep them alive. If there's someone else who ordered them to do so, I want an explanation as well. Wang Xian saw Director Jin and the rest coming over and pointed at Yong Xingping and Commander Li, who were left behind by a general. Young man, is it a fact that you killed our frontline soldiers? We must have an explanation for this matter as well. When the old man holding a walking stick heard his words, anger appeared on his face as he spoke coldly. Killing our Blackwater frontline soldiers in the mysterious Sky territory is an unforgivable crime. A general also spoke indifferently. Hihi, don't talk so much about it. Why would I kill people for no reason? I'm definitely going to kill these 2 people. If you want an explanation from me, go and look for Senior Shen Tianzi. Wang Xian raised his head slightly and said indifferently. He didn't expect that the experts from the mysterious Sky Academy would come. Since they were here, it was time for a showdown. If there was anything to look for Shen Tianzi, he must be killed. Today, he would be treated as a good-for-nothing disciple and a second-generation heir. As Wang Xian spoke, he walked straight towards Yong Xingping and Commander Li, completely ignoring the generals around him. You! The old man holding the walking stick was furious. Second Grandpa, we have contacted the dean. This fellow is a thorn. Yesterday, he killed 2 students of the Shentian Academy who offended him and a student's parent. The dean killed them as he wished. The deputy dean of the Beast Tamer School transmitted his voice to the old man. Huh! The old man holding the walking stick was slightly stunned. A hint of surprise flashed across his face. He was so unscrupulous. When they were young, they didn't care about being so arrogant. You! What are you doing? What are you doing? Yong Xingping and Commander Li saw that Wang Xian was walking towards them. The generals around them were indifferent and their expressions changed drastically. At this moment, the 2 of them were extremely terrified. They didn't expect Wang Xian to have such a background. He dared to directly contradict the general. The higher-ups of the Shentian Academy even rushed over for him. What? What was his identity? Who sent you here? Wang Xian stared at them and questioned coldly. No one sent us here. It was us. Yong Xingping looked at Wang Xian with fear. He looked at the general beside him as though he was begging for mercy. At this moment, the 2 of them were trembling. Now, they knew that they had gotten themselves into big trouble. This time, they were done for, completely done for. Even if they didn't die today, they would still be punished severely in the future. If they make a mistake, we will punish them with military law at the front line, a general said with a gloomy face. He caused me to kill a few soldiers. He deserves to die. If I didn't show mercy, those 1,000 soldiers would have all died. Besides, they offended me. Let me do it. Wang Xian looked at the general and said calmly, we will handle the matter. Soul Catcher. Bang bang. As the general spoke, Wang Xian's mind stirred and he unleashed his Soul Catcher power. At a distance of about 100 meters, Wang Xian launched an attack at such a close distance in an instant. A ball of energy enveloped their bodies. Before the people around could react, The deathly silent energy enveloped their bodies and obliterated all their auras. At this moment, the expressions of everyone around changed drastically. It was especially so for the more than 10 generals. Their faces were extremely ugly as they stared at Wang Xian furiously. The higher-ups of the Shentian Academy were also having a headache. To kill 2 commanders in front of the generals of the Blackwater frontlines, even if the 2 of them were in the wrong, they were too arrogant. The old man holding the walking stick trembled slightly. He held the walking stick tightly in his hand and wanted to make a move. This was not taking them seriously. It was no less than a public slap in the face. Little Xian, I didn't expect your strength to increase so quickly. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly appeared out of thin air. Following that, a figure appeared in front of Wang Xian. At this moment, Shen Tianzi was looking at Wang Xian in astonishment. Wang Xian had only been here for 2 months. 2 months ago, based on his senses, he was at most at level 2 of the Eternal Lord. But now, he was able to instantly kill 2 level 5 Eternal Lord experts. The explosive power he unleashed could contend against level 7 of the Eternal Lord. In just 2 short months, he had risen to level 5. Shen Tianzi even suspected that he was the reincarnation of Tian Chen. Even if he wasn't the reincarnation, he didn't know if he had obtained all of Tian Chen's inheritance. Now, he really had some doubts. Grandpa, great-grandpa, patriarch, dean. At this moment, all the surrounding experts were slightly shocked when they saw Shen Tianzi suddenly appear. They hurriedly shouted, and many experts directly knelt on the ground. This old man in front of them was one of the 4 great godly monarchs of their Tianzi continent. He had single-handedly established the ruler of the mysterious heaven domain. What made them even more shocked was that this ruler had actually made a trip specifically for that young man's matter. The old man with the scepter in his hand was somewhat suspicious. Did his grandfather have another son outside? Chapter 2312. 2312 The battle between 2312 humans and sea monsters. Senior, it's all thanks to the abundance of resources in the Tianzi continent. Wang Xian smiled when he saw Shen Tianzi rushing over. His backer had arrived. Even I am a little surprised. Little Xian is actually a beast tamer master. Impressive. Shen Tianzi smiled and shook his head. Initially, I thought it would be safer for you to be their teacher. I didn't expect you to take such a risk. Let's go down and have a chat. All right. By the way, Senior, I have some use for their eternal kingdom. Wang Xian suddenly waved his hand and stored the 2 corpses into his interspatial ring. Then, he said to Shen Tianzi, send them to Little Xian later. Shen Tianzi said to the crowd at the side. With a wave of his arm, he flew down with Wang Xian. The crowd was stunned when they saw the patriarch bringing Wang Xian down to a spot below. The old man who was leaning on his walking stick twitched the corner of his mouth. His grandfather was here, but he didn't say a word to him. Instead, he kept chatting with that young man. Are you sure that this isn't the illegitimate son of the patriarch? Otherwise, why would you treat him like this? Get those 2 fellows Eternal Divine Kingdom over here. Also, announce to the public that they violated the military order and killed the frontline soldiers. They were killed immediately. A general said after a moment of hesitation, looking at the attitude of the patriarch, let alone asking for punishment. If the young man was injured, the patriarch might ask for their punishment. As for Yong Xingping and Commander Li, the 2 of them would be killed for violating the military order. Shen Umbrella looked at the place where the patriarch and Wang Xian had disappeared with a complicated expression. If the girls from the Shen Tian descendants could really marry this Wang Xian, they could really become the most honorable people in the entire Shen Tian territory. Also, his strength shocked Shen Umbrella. Such a young aura, yet he had the strength to be comparable to an eternal god master who had mastered 6 or 7 laws. This was simply monstrous. The underground sea is very dangerous. Little Xian, you'd better be careful. Don't go deep into the underground sea. In a courtyard at the front line of the Blackwater, Shen Tianzi and Wang Xian sat in front of a table and reminded him, Senior, don't worry. I will be careful. The path of the strong is never safe. Wang Xian was grateful for Xian Tianzi's reminder and said with a smile, "That's true. The path of the strong is filled with danger. Your current strength is completely beyond my expectations. You have the heart to become stronger. I will not stop you." Xian Tianzi took a sip of tea and took out a token. "This is an identity token. Take this token and no one in the entire Tianzi continent will make things difficult for you. There is also an array formation inside which is sufficient to withstand an attack from an immortal God King. During this period of time, you will be able to escape." As he spoke, he handed a token condensed from the laws to Wang Xian. "Thank you, Senior." Wang Xian did not reject him. He reached out and took the token. This token was equivalent to a life. "Hihi, there's no need. This thing is nothing compared to the formation you took out." Xian Tianzi shook his head. "That was also given to you by the Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation." Wang Xian smiled. "Teacher Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation, did he really die?" Xian Tianzi hesitated for a moment before asking him. Senior Xian Tianzi should know about it within 10 years. Wang Xian also hesitated for a moment before replying. Xian Tianzi trembled slightly as excitement flickered in his eyes. What did he mean by this? The Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation didn't die. This kid is really confident. He managed to advance to the Celestial Emperor realm within 10 years. And he even helped him reconstruct his body. The Celestial Emperor of Heaven's formation, who was behind Wang Xian, muttered as he revealed a faint smile on his face. As long as Wang Xian agreed to help him rebuild his body, he had a 100% chance of resurrecting him, let alone 10 years. After all, this kid had obtained the Divine Dragon's inheritance. Dong dong dong. At this moment, an extremely urgent voice rang out, clearly entering Wang Xian's ears. "The sea monsters are invading. Running Tiger, Roaring Sun, Blue Sun, and the Heaven's Punishment Army are going to battle." Following that, a voice rang out. "Senior, what is this?" Wang Xian was slightly taken aback as he looked at Xian Tianzi. "The sea monsters are invading. This is one of the 5 front lines." Xian Tianzi did not show any reaction to this. He had seen this kind of situation many times. Then, why didn't Senior make a move directly? If you made a move, I believe that you would be able to kill all the invading sea monsters in an instant. Is it because of the sea monsters at the level of the King of the Underground Sea? Wang Xian looked at Xian Tianzi and asked curiously. "There's a reason for that. 50 years ago, I just had a huge battle with the Shark Muscle God King. That battle lasted for more than 10 days. If I were to attack and kill the ordinary sea monsters, it would also attack and kill the ordinary humans." Xian Tianzi shook his head. "There are 7 sea monster god kings in the underground sea. Among them, there are 2 immortal god king level sea monsters that basically don't provoke it. It won't attack humans either. Those 2 don't like the environment above us and haven't fought with humans much. The other 5 sea monster kings are brutal by nature. They have their own races and each of them occupies their own territory. They often attack humans. Every year, tens of millions of people in the entire natural selection continent die in battles with the sea monsters." Xian Tianzi slowly introduced them to him. "Can't we destroy them completely? For example, we can look for experts from other planets to help us destroy them completely." Wang Xian asked. "How can it be that easy? The humans in the greater world are at a disadvantage. Not to mention inviting the godly king to help us, the sea monster will also run away when it is attacked by 2 godly kings. Even the eternal godly master is hard to kill, let alone the immortal godly king. The word immortal is not something that can be casually added." Xian Tianzi shook his head. After chatting with Xian Tianzi for about half an hour, Xian Tianzi left right after reminding Wang Xian to be careful. Although he was the immortal god king, he had to oversee the Xian Tian territory at all times. This was because he did not know when the Shark Muscle God King would attack. Once he was not around, the entire Xian Tian territory would be destroyed. The current Xian Tianzi was fighting for the humans of the Tianzi continent. The godly monarchs from other places were doing the same. They were suppressing and protecting one side. Every immortal godly monarch was deeply respected by the people. They were the true guardians. After Xian Tianzi left, Wang Xian stood up and his eyes flickered slightly. From Xian Tianzi's words, he finally understood the current situation of this world. Humans were not as easy as he imagined. Let's go to the battlefield and take a look. Hearing the roars and roars coming from afar, Wang Xian's figure moved and flew toward the front line. Roar, roar, roar. Just as he rushed over, Wang Xian could smell the surging stench of blood rushing toward him. In front of him, there was a sea that was the color of congealed blood, emitting a terrifying stench of blood. A towering city wall stood in front of the sea. The city wall was over 10,000 kilometers long and was 5,000 meters tall. In front, 1,000,000 soldiers and sea monsters fighting. One by one the bodies fell. Extremely tragic. Chapter 23:13. 23:13 2313 God Lord and the rest of the aquatic creatures would be enslaved by me. It was brutal, truly brutal. In one battle, there were 1,000,000 people from the 4 legions, about 200 eternal God Lord level warriors, and the rest were all God level warriors. These warriors were fighting with the sea monsters above the ocean. People died every second, and some fell into the pitch-black ocean below. The sea water was pitch-black, and there was bright red blood mixed in the middle. The entire area tens of thousands of kilometers ahead was a meat grinder. The city walls had turned dark red, and there were traces of being attacked. Wang Xian looked over and was slightly moved. This was the first time he had seen a battlefield of this level. In the past, he had only seen some scenes when he obtained the divine dragon's inheritance. Now that he was seeing it with his own eyes, he was extremely shocked. No wonder Xian Tianzi said that tens of millions or even tens of millions of people would die on the battlefield every year. Wang Xian mumbled. There were more than 100 billion people in the natural selection continent. The number of people born every year was more than 100 million. However, the number of people in the Tianzi continent had already maintained a balance. With the lifespan of the people in the Tianzi continent, when they advanced to the godly state, their lifespan would be 10,000 years and the lifespan of the Godlord would be 100,000 years. The number of people would only increase. However, due to the war, the number of people did not increase at all. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the battlefield. Most of the warriors had the strength of 5 wisps of divine fire or above. However, with such strength, it would not be an exaggeration to say that they were cannon fodder in such a large-scale battlefield. In the pitch-black ocean below, there were a group of sea monsters with sharp thorns all over their bodies. Their body sizes ranged from 10 to 1,000 meters. These were the shark muscles of the sea monsters, a group of extremely bloody sea monsters. They were also one of the main enemies of humans. In the ocean, regardless of whether humans or sea monsters were killed, they were all devoured by the crazy sea monsters at the bottom of the ocean in the next second. At the bottom of the ocean, there are at least a few hundred sea monsters at the level of the Eternal Lord. Wang Xian scanned the area below with his yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes. Slowly, his eyes sparkled. The divine dragon was a race at the peak of the universe. It was the king of the water tribe. Its dragon might could intimidate all the water tribe members. Wang Xian could increase his strength by devouring the water tribe members. The corpses of the water tribe members could also increase the strength of the soldiers of the Dragon Palace. If the Dragon Palace was transferred here and killed the sea monsters and obtained their corpses, the speed of the improvement of the Dragon Palace would be terrifying. With my current strength, the sea monsters below the Eternal Lord can directly rule over them. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. He moved his body and flew directly into the ocean below. Who is that? Why did he suddenly charge into the battlefield? Wang Xian flew over and attracted the attention of some people around him. The soldiers on the front line were equipped with uniform armor. All of them fought together and charged forward together. It was very eye-catching for a person to charge into the battlefield alone, and he was dressed in ordinary clothes. However, no one stopped him. There was a battlefield below. Some of the commanders were willing to fight with the sea monsters. Naturally, they did not have any objections. Bang! Wang Xian flew over the city wall and entered the pitch-black ocean. This black ocean had a special energy. Even if he was a few kilometers away from the city wall, The depth of the ocean was at least tens of millions of kilometers. Wang Xian entered the sea without causing any ripples. He swept his gaze forward. With his yin-yang and 5 elemental dragon eyes, he could see countless sea monsters in front of him. There were more than tens of millions of sea monsters. There were literally hundreds of millions of them. Among them, 60 to 70% of them were below the godly state. There were also 50 to 60 million of them above the godly state. If it weren't for the army formation above them and the chaotic sea monsters, the humans would definitely suffer heavy losses. The humans who formed the battle formation and charged at the chaotic sea monsters would be able to fight against 10,000 of them. With so many sea monsters, if I were to absorb them into the Dragon Palace and turn them into dragon blood, it would be able to allow a large number of Dragon Palace members to reach the level of Eternal God Lord. Wang Xian's eyes were burning with passion. There were more than 160,000 members in the Dragon Palace now. If all of them could become Eternal God Lord, when he was able to kill the immortal God King, he would be able to lead the Dragon Palace to pacify the entire underground sea. This was not impossible. Perhaps, I need to send the members of the Dragon Palace here so that I can improve quickly. In the Boundless region, it would take at least a few years for the Dragon Palace to add an Eternal God Lord. This was also because the level of the Dragon Palace had improved and the spiritual energy had increased tremendously. In Wang Xian's opinion, such a speed was too slow. Rule some sea monsters and increase the strength of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian stared at the sea monsters in front of him. His body moved and he flew forward. Roar! Roar! Before he could reach 1,000 meters, hundreds of sea monsters noticed him. Their ferocious bodies charged straight at him. Dragon might, rule. All the aquatic creatures below the god level will be my slaves. Wang Xian's eyes flashed with a cold expression as he unleashed his ruling power. Buzz! 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 In an instant, an extremely terrifying power was transmitted forward. Now, his strength had improved tremendously. The area covered by the dragons might had reached a radius of 300 kilometers. 300 kilometers was just a corner in this battlefield that was tens of thousands of kilometers wide and endless in length. However, this was sufficient for Wang Xian. Roar! At the front, the sea monsters trembled slightly and flew toward Wang Xian. There were about 100,000 sea monsters in the area of 300 kilometers. Judging from the number of sea monsters attacking the sea monsters, it was only a small portion. Buzz! 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 More than 100,000 sea monsters flew over. Wang Xian's body shook as he shook their consciousness and killed them. Whoosh! 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 Behind him, the virtual image of the Dragon Palace appeared. One sea monster after another entered the Dragon Palace. Increase the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace and try your best to reach the realm of Eternal God Lord. In the Dragon Palace in the boundless sea of the boundless galaxy, Wang Xian's voice reverberated throughout every corner of the Dragon Palace. All the members of the Dragon Palace immediately stood up and bowed. I will obey the Dragon King's order. Following that, all the members of the Dragon Palace saw the corpses of the sea monsters entering the Dragon Palace one by one. Bring these corpses to the Dragon Transformation Pool immediately. Ao Yarrow, Ao Chitian, Ao Chi, and the other leaders, come over. Prime Minister Gui immediately stopped them and gave the order. Boom! 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 The sea monsters entered the Dragon Palace one by one. In just 10 minutes, the number of the sea monsters had reached 1 million. Among them, there were quite a number of corpses of the 9 wisps of divine fire at the peak of the godly state. This caused all the members of the Dragon Palace to have a burning look in their eyes. At the bottom of the sea in the Blackwater battlefield, Wang Xian revealed a smile. He kept pushing forward. He avoided some of the sea monsters at the level of the Eternal Lord. All the sea monsters below the level of the Eternal Lord flew directly toward him after they were ruled. The situation here didn't attract the attention of too many sea monsters. The wild and cruel sea monsters didn't notice the situation here either. With so many sea monsters, it's possible for the Dragon Palace to have more than 100 Eternal Godlords and 2 Commander Corpses. It seems that we'll have to stay here for a few days. Chapter 23:14. 2,314 sea creatures below the level of the Master God were all his slaves. Rule. In the sea at the front line of the Black Sea, Wang Xian was located deep in the bottom of the sea. He looked at the mermaids and sea monsters in front of him with a burning expression on his face. With the rule activated, all the sea monsters below the level of the eternal Master God within a radius of 300 kilometers surged towards him. More than 100,000 sea monsters seemed to have been caught by an invisible fishing net and were thrown into the Dragon Palace. A large number of sea monsters turned into dragon blood and became the resources for the members of the Dragon Palace to improve. I have almost conquered 5 to 6 million sea monsters. There are also more than 1 million celestial-level sea monsters. However, this is not enough. Wang Xian calculated in his heart. 1 million celestial-level sea monsters was not a lot, but it was definitely not a small number. There were not so many celestial-level experts in the entire boundless galaxy. However, 1 million god-level sea monsters, ranging from a wisp of divine fire to the peak of the god level, could at most add dozens of eternal god lords to the Dragon Palace. Go to the front. The center is mostly god-level shark-muscled sea monsters. He stared ahead and flew over. The more he flew forward, the stronger the shark-muscled sea monsters would be. There were even quite a few eternal god-lord-level merman sea monsters. No one dared to barge into the ocean when the sea monsters attacked the city, because even the eternal god-lord could not withstand millions of frenzied sea monsters. Not to mention that there were eternal god-lord-level sea monsters inside. The water of the ocean was black. This kind of black was not pure black, but a kind of energy black. Even the eternal god-lord's vision would be obstructed here. If he was not careful, the eternal god-lord would die if he was ambushed here. Roar. When Wang Xian was about 10 kilometers ahead, a blood-red pupil was staring at him. A few hundred meters long god-lord-level sea monster was attacking him. Hee. Wang Xian looked at this sea monster and did not pay any attention to it. His body shook and all the sea monsters within a radius of 300 kilometers rushed towards him crazily. The sea monster at the level of an eternal god opened its mouth slightly when it sensed Wang Xian's provocative aura. However, at this moment, the sea monsters below the level of an eternal god swarmed over crazily and even collided with its body. This made the sea monster at the level of an eternal god slightly dumbfounded. A group of underlings dared to provoke a commander-level creature like it. Boom. 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 However, before the eternal god-lord shark-muscle sea monster could think too much, it saw that the prey in front of it had been completely surrounded. Roar. It let out a dissatisfied roar and did not rush over again. It looked up, locked onto a human, and directly rushed out. Gone. Seeing this scene, it slightly raised its eyebrows. With a thought, it immediately had hundreds of shark-muscle sea monsters surround it, not leaving a single gap. The fresh blood of the merman sea monsters covered his surroundings, concealing his aura. Following that, Wang Xian dashed toward more sea monsters. With the merman sea monsters surrounding him, there were indeed no sea monsters attacking him. Boom. Wang Xian's body shook and his dragon aura covered a radius of 300 kilometers once again. Hundreds of thousands of merman sea monsters charged toward him. Even if there were master-level merman sea monsters who sensed Wang Xian's dragon aura, they gave up because there were too many sea monsters flying over. Following that, Wang Xian led the group of sea monsters and flew to the side. With a jolt of his aura, he killed them and kept them into the Dragon Palace. Following the same method, he once again controlled the hundreds of sea monsters to surround him and flew forward. Am I considered a husky who mingled with the wolves? No, I'm a divine dragon mingling with the sea monsters. Wang Xian thought to himself with a smile on his face after more than 10 consecutive times. Even a peak eternal god lord wouldn't dare to venture deep into the underground sea of the battlefield. Yet, he was doing well here. It seems that I can add at least 400 to 500 eternal god lords to the Dragon Palace this time. The rest of the members of the Dragon Palace will also receive a huge boost. Wang Xian thought to himself as he continued to rule and kill the sea monsters below. In just a short span of 3 hours, the number of sea monsters that were killed by Wang Xian had reached 50 to 60 million. Among them, At least half of the divine realm muscle sea monsters that he paid special attention to were gone. Why are there so few divine realm sea monsters in this attack? There are indeed fewer of them. Don't worry about it. Kill them all with your full strength and kill all of them. Above the Blackwater Sea, the warriors of the 4 legions were fighting against the sea monsters one by one. Fresh blood splattered everywhere and the smell of blood soared to the sky. Roar, roar, roar. Oh no, I've encountered a top-notch sea monster. At the bottom of the sea, Wang Xian was surrounded by hundreds of mermaids. The moment he entered the sea monsters and released his ruling power, he was met with a cold and violent roar. Following that, he saw a terrifying impact force coming towards him. A sea monster with at least level 8 or 9 of the Eternal Lord. Releasing his dragon aura is considered a provocation. A sea monster with such strength can sense him. After staying at the bottom of the sea for about 4 hours, Wang Xian was completely discovered by a muscleman sea monster. Without any hesitation, he commanded the sea monsters within a 300-kilometer radius to attack the powerful muscleman sea monster. His figure flew directly toward the surface of the sea. Roar. A violent sound rushed out from the bottom of the sea. The warriors above could hear it clearly. Many of the warriors' faces changed slightly. A few of the top-notch experts from the 4 armies moved their bodies and stared at the bottom of the sea to prevent this powerful sea monster from launching a sudden attack. Splash! Hundreds of thousands of sea monsters were entangling the level 8 and level 9 shark muscle sea monster of the Eternal Lord. Wang Xian flew out of the sea surface easily. Boom! 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 When he had just revealed his head, numerous attacks landed on his body. "He's one of us." Wang Xian sensed the energy and shouted immediately, "Hey! Why is he here?" In the sky, Xian, who was the commander of the Blue Sun Army, was stunned when she saw Wang Xian flying out from the sea. Damn, what's going on? Why is there someone flying out from below? The few soldiers beside him were also stunned. Under such circumstances, there were still people who dared to enter the ocean below. Wang Xian ignored them and flew towards the city wall. He had gained enough this time. If he continued to rule, it would affect the Eternal Lord sea monsters inside. At that time, he would be attacked by the powerful mermaids. It would be hard for him to gain too much. When he came to the city wall, Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and saw a general standing not far away. He had only met General Wang Xian once, but it was enough for him to meet him once. He moved his body and immediately flew toward the general. When he flew over, the general also looked at Wang Xian. When he flew out from the bottom of the sea, he noticed Wang Xian. At this moment, he was also a little curious. What was this guy doing at the bottom of the sea? Killing sea monsters. Chapter 2315. 2315 Dragon Palace Upgrade. Hello, General. Wang Xian walked to the front of the old general and cupped his hands at him. Around him, more than 10 commanders looked at him with curious expressions. Hey, little brother, what's the matter? General Xian Zhen looked at Wang Xian with a smile on his face as he asked. Not long ago, he met Wang Xian and saw him killing 2 commanders in front of the group of expert. He saw the patriarch coming here personally for his business. He didn't dare to slight a young man who was highly valued by the patriarch. General, do you still have a place to stay? It would be best if there are tens of thousands of people here. Wang Xian said directly to him. Stay. Stay in the military camp. I wonder why you want so many places to stay. Chief Xian looked at him with some doubt. I have some subordinates who want to let them come here to gain experience. Wang Xian said with a smile. Oh. Then we are more than happy to welcome you. Let me bring you there. Chief Xian nodded with a smile. He gestured to the few commanders beside him and flew inside with Wang Xian. That young man seems to be the one who came here arrogantly on his mount today. It's him. Commander Yong and Commander Li are dead. He is fine. It seems like he is being watched by the old ancestor. Yong Xingping and old Li brought this upon themselves. They deserve to be killed for kicking an iron plate. The few commanders whispered to each other as they watched the general personally lead Wang Xian to fly back. Over here. We have a lot of empty space at the front line. This is a pretty good place. The concentration of spiritual energy is relatively high. It's considered pretty good in the entire front line. Xian Zhenshou brought Wang Xian to a location where there were many houses. It could be considered pretty good. Little brother, your subordinates can stay here. If you want to participate in the battle at the front line, you can form a team alone. Of course, you can also join other legions. He continued to speak to Wang Xian. Form a team alone. Follow your legions in every battle. Wang Xian said with a smile. All right, inform me when your men arrive. I'll report to you. Guardian Xian nodded his head. I'll have to trouble you then, General. Wang Xian thanked him. He smiled and introduced a few others before turning around and leaving. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings. The entire area was enough to house 10,000 to 20,000 people. He came to a spot in the middle and waved his arm. He set up a concealing formation here. Dragon Gate of the Dragon Palace, appear. He moved his body and an incomparably huge Dragon Gate appeared in the sky. Only a corner of the Dragon Gate was exposed, but this corner was a few kilometers in size. With a move of his body, he flew straight in from the Dragon Gate. Summoning a corner of the Eternal Divine Kingdom was also a characteristic of the Eternal Divine Kingdom. Greetings, Dragon King. Greetings, Dragon King. When Wang Xian entered the Dragon Palace, the Yakshas on patrol immediately bowed respectfully. Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head and scanned his surroundings. The entire Dragon Palace was more than 10,000 kilometers in area. The huge Dragon Palace only had about 100,000 people. It was slightly spacious. He moved his body and flew directly in the direction of the Dragon King Palace. Dragon King. When he arrived, Aonu immediately walked over and greeted him respectfully. Yes. He nodded his head and looked at the ancestral tree. With the improvement of the Dragon Palace, the ancestral tree had also experienced tremendous growth. The ancestral tree was now more than 1,000 meters tall with luxuriant foliage. Each branch bore extremely precious fruits. Where's the Dragon Queen? Wang Xian asked Aonu. Dragon King, the group of Dragon Queens are cultivating in the Dragon Transformation Pool. The leaders are also cultivating. Aonu immediately replied. Upon hearing that, Wang Xian immediately walked into the Dragon Transformation Pool. At this moment, the Dragon Transformation Pool was more than 100 kilometers in circumference. The 9 pillars of the divine dragons looked even more majestic and lifelike. Each pillar was 10,000 meters tall, and a large amount of dragon blood flowed into the Dragon Transformation Pool. The 100-kilometer-sized Dragon Transformation Pool was about 1,000 meters deep. At this moment, half of the dragon blood was already in the pool. The Dragon Transformation Pool was emitting an incomparably resplendent vitality. Inside, the group of leaders, the Berserk Dragon species, Starwood Dragon species, and Thorned Dragon species were increasing their strength. Wang Xian looked over and revealed a smile on his face. It wouldn't be long before the Dragon Palace would be able to increase the number of Eternal Masters by a few hundred. Furthermore, all of them possessed the combat strength of level 3 and 4 Eternal Masters. At that time, with these members of the Dragon Palace as the foundation, they would be allowed to enter the battlefield to fight. It wouldn't be long before the strength of the Dragon Palace would be greatly enhanced. After looking around, Wang Xian retreated immediately. He returned to the front line and closed the Dragon Palace. Now, what he had to do was to wait for the members of the Dragon Palace to be upgraded and for the Fu Nation to pay the rest of the deposit. As for the rest of the deposit, Wang Xian would devour all the resources and be able to upgrade to the 2nd level of the Eternal Lord. At that time, he would have the strength of the 8th level of the Eternal Lord. With the strength of the 8th level of the Eternal Lord, he would be considered as one of the top experts in the entire Tianzi continent. At that time, he would be able to capture more sea monsters for sale. Perhaps, it wouldn't be long before he would possess the combat strength of an immortal god king. As he thought about it, a smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. He found a room in the middle and began to cultivate here. On the battlefield, the sounds of battle could be heard incessantly. It lasted for more than 10 hours before it ended. The soldiers on the front line had long seen and were used to battles of this level. Such battles could erupt 5 to 6 times a month. However, this time, it was much easier than before. The number of god-level Musselman sea monsters was obviously much less than before. Time passed very quickly. On the third day, Foog were brought over 3,000 people to this place. Little brother, I'll have to trouble you next. Foog were walked in front and said to Wang Xian. At the same time, he was also a little curious. Why was this Wang Xian staying at the front line of the mysterious sky territory? Was he from the front line? However, if he was from the front line, why would he sell his battle pet to them? Although he was curious, he didn't ask too many questions. It's no trouble. It might take more than 10 days to help you tame your war pet. Wang Xian smiled and shook his head. In the next half a month, Wang Xian would help them tame their war pet. More than 3,000 war pets was a waste of his time. When Wang Xian was taming his war pets, many generals came to visit him. Looking at these powerful war pets, their hearts were burning with passion. A few generals were ready to talk to Wang Xian. If they could get their hands on more war pets next time, they would sell them all. Phew. Half a month later, Wang Xian had tamed the last war pet. He took a deep breath and sent Fu Guo and the rest away. Looking at the pills in his hands, he smiled. Chapter 23:16. 2,316 members of the Dragon Palace arrived. Name, Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level, Eternal God Lord Level 2, 6th form of the Divine Dragon Transformation. Origin, 13/50. Supernatural ability, Rule the Water Tribe below their level. Devour living beings to extract origin. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, Divine Dragon Transformation. Supernatural ability, Soul Absorbing, Spirit Attaching, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Dragon Eyes. Aspect, 5 Elements Grinding, Dragon Kingdom in the palm, Dragon Head under the heavens, Dragon Body of 10,000 miles, Yin-Yang Dual Polarity, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Arms Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Swing. Law, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light and Darkness, Level 2. Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace, Level 7. Members of Dragon Palace, 165,693. I've advanced another level. In just a few months here, my strength has increased tremendously. After paying the rest of the divine pills, Wang Xian immediately consumed all of them. Looking at his awakening, a smile appeared on his face. Congratulations on your breakthrough again, Dragon King. At this moment, the congratulatory voices of the members of the Dragon Palace rang out from the side. Wang Xian looked to the side with a satisfied look on his face. The group of 550 members was led by Prime Minister Gui, Ao Chitian, Ao Qi, Ao Yao, Ao Jian, Ao Xingmu, Ao Fenghuang, Mao Zesen, Ao Crab and the rest of the leader. 200 berserk dragon species, 200 starwood dragon species, dozens of raptor species, and dozens of arrow dragon species. Arrow dragon species was a dragon species rewarded by the system for ruling a planet. It was one of the strongest long-range dragon species in the Dragon Palace. It contained both wind and metal attributes. Now, dozens of members of the Arrow division had advanced to arrow dragon species. They could fight 3 levels higher without being close to each other. Once they were close to them, they would be able to fight 2 levels higher at most. Once the arrow dragon species was able to stop their attacks without being disturbed, it would be extremely terrifying. 550 members were all the eternal masters of the Dragon Palace. This power was nothing in the Tianzi continent. However, it was comparable to an army at the front line. Prime Minister Gui, you guys have some understanding of the Tianzi continent, right? Wang Xian glanced at them and landed on Prime Minister Gui as he asked. Dragon King, I have a basic understanding of it. Ao Yarrow and the rest will be in charge of collecting assassinations in the future. We will be in charge of the battle. Prime Minister Gui replied. Yes. Wang Xian nodded. The members of the Dragon Palace had completed their promotion yesterday. He found a few artificial intelligence brains for Prime Minister Gui to let them understand the current Tianzi continent. Young Master Wang Xian. At this moment, a voice came from outside. General, please come in. Wang Xian said directly. He. Two figures walked in. One of them was the guard of Shen Town while the other was an old man holding a walking stick. The old man holding the walking stick was called Shen Ziyi. Shen Ziyi was also the strongest person in the entire battlefield. The soldiers called him the general and also the marshal. The two of them entered and immediately saw the hundreds of underlings behind Wang Xian. There were humans and demonic beasts. They looked very different. However, both of them were top-notch experts among the Eternal Lord. They were slightly surprised when they sensed the aura of the crowd. May I know why young Master Wang Xian called us here? The guard of Shen Town asked Wang Xian with a smile. General, these are my subordinates. I want them to train here and obtain some resources from the sea monsters' corpses. I'll inform you about it. Wang Xian said directly to them. There's no problem with that. Young Master Wang Xian's subordinates are also a powerful force. In the future, let's form a separate army. How about the Dragon Palace Army? Of course, this is just a title. It's mainly used to address outsiders. If young Master Wang Xian is not satisfied with it, you can change it. Chief Shen nodded his head in agreement. Sure. When war breaks out in the future, our Dragon Palace Army will fight alone. Wang Xian nodded his head. Sure. Since young Master Wang Xian has sent his subordinates here to help us fight against the sea monsters and the Dragon Palace Army has formed an army alone, young Master Wang Xian, please accept it. Shen Ziyi, who was at the side, took out a badge with a smile and handed it to Wang Xian. Oh, this. Wang Xian took it and looked at it. His eyes revealed a hint of surprise. The General Badge represents the General Badge of our frontline army. Currently, there are 18 generals in the frontline, including 19 young Master Wang Xian. Shen Ziyi said with a smile. There were many generals in the frontline, but most of them were deputy generals. As for the real generals, there were only 18 generals who held great power. None of them were weaker than the level 9 Eternal Lord. The general badge in Wang Xian's hand was on the same level as the 18 of them. Thank you, Marshal Shen. Wang Xian smiled and kept it. No need to thank me. Sigh, our front line is more dangerous. More than 100,000 people would die in every war. With General Wang's subordinates here, we can reduce the number of casualties. If we have a mount, we can reduce the number of casualties to the minimum. It's good to have a mount. If we can form a mount army, then we can deal with. Shen Ziyi mumbled and suddenly mentioned about battle mounts. He looked at Wang Xian as he spoke. Wang Xian was speechless when he heard him. It seemed like this old man wanted to get some battle mounts from him. I can get war pets, but I can sell them to the Blackwater front line at the market price. I can also pay with the corpses of the sea monsters. If you guys don't want them, I will sell them to others. Wang Xian didn't say anything and made a promise directly. If he was short-handed, he would take advantage of others. He would sell them to others as well as to them. There was nothing wrong with selling them in advance. Haha, all right. When can we get another batch of war pets? Shen Ziyi's eyes lit up immediately as he asked. I don't know. It will take 1 to 2 months at most. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before replying. 1 to 2 months is fine. All right, then we shall not disturb General Wang. Shen Ziyi left with Shen Zhenshou in satisfaction. The main reason why he gave Wang Xian the position and badge of a general was to get a batch of war pet. Otherwise, with his character, even if Wang Xian was a young man that his grandfather valued highly, he wouldn't have given him the position of a general. After all, which general didn't come out from a pile of corpses? Which one of them hadn't been guarding the front lines for 10,000 years? I really don't know what kind of ability that Wang Xian has. He's so confident that he can obtain a batch of war pets in a month or two. The two of them flew out as Manager Shen said with a twinkle in his eyes. The old man is not blind yet. There are only 2 possibilities for him to value that young man so much. First, that kid is really talented. Even the old man thinks highly of him. Second, that kid is the old man's illegitimate child. Xian Ziyi said with a twinkle in his eyes. Illegitimate child. When Xian Zhenshou heard his words, he was speechless. If it wasn't for the old man valuing him so much, I would have tied him up and tamed his battle pet. However, this kid is quite tactful. I hope that he can get some decent battle pets that can reach half of the royal family of the Federation. Xian Ziyi seemed to be talking to himself as he spoke. Chapter 2317. 2317 The Might of the 2317 Dragon Palace Warriors. Wang Xian had no idea that Marshal Xian Ziyi was plotting against him behind his back. He took out his AI and looked at the message that he had sent to Invincible in combat. During this period of time, he had sent quite a number of messages to this Chinibya, but there was no reply. Yesterday, Wang Xian had seen the message on his AI. Invincible in combat went to a certain place. This fellow was not in closed-door cultivation, nor did he go deep into the underground sea. It was impossible for him not to know the information he sent. That meant he was not replying to the information. It seems like this fellow is trying to renege on his promise. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. It was much more convenient to tame a war pet with the Invincible in terms of combat techniques. He was not strong, but he had the defense of a supreme treasure. He would not be killed even if he provoked a powerful sea monster. Even Ao Yarrow and the rest could not do such bait. Therefore, it was the best choice to tame the war pets and bring along the Invincible battle tactic. However, this fellow was obviously trying to renege on his promise and did not reply to his message at all. Looks like I have to go and collect the debt this time. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. The sea monsters are invading. The 3 legions are ready for battle. At this moment, an earth-shattering roar was heard. Wang Xian had heard this roar 3 times. He was not as surprised as he was at the beginning. Let's go and get used to the battlefield. However, this time, Wang Xian flew over with the members of the Dragon Palace. He could not stay here every day. In the future, when a war broke out at the front line, the members of the Dragon Palace would have to participate in the war themselves. Now that they had advanced to the realm of Eternal Lord, the chances of them being killed by the sea monsters were very small. Moreover, even if they were killed, they could be resurrected. It's the Dragon King. 550 experts of the Dragon Palace followed him and flew toward the battlefield. When he rushed over, the 3 legions around him flew toward the Blackwater Sea in unison. Among them, 2 generals stood on the huge city wall and guarded the last defense. Warriors of the Blue Sun Legion, kill. Warriors of the Hatred-Breaking Legion, kill. Warriors of the Daywolf Army, kill. A majestic roar rang out. 800,000 to 900,000 warriors from the 3 armies charged straight into the battlefield. Buzz! Buzz! At this moment, Wang Xian led the members of the Dragon Palace to the city wall in front of the Blackwater Sea. General Wang, are your men going to make a move? Guardian Xian stood not far away and asked Wang Xian. Yes. Wang Xian nodded his head. Then, you can decide the actions of your Dragon Palace army, Guardian Xian said. Wang Xian looked at Prime Minister Gui and gestured for him to command the battle. Enter the seabed and start the battle. Prime Minister Gui did not hesitate and immediately ordered all the members of the Dragon Palace. Yes. The group of members of the Dragon Palace moved and flew directly to the seabed below. Hey! General Wang, the bottom of the sea is the territory of the sea monsters. Although your people are all strong, it's still very dangerous to enter the sea to fight. When Chief Xian saw them flying straight into the sea, he frowned slightly. It's all right. They are more suitable for fighting in the sea. Wang Xian shook his head. The members of the Dragon Palace were more suitable for fighting in the sea. Their pressure could reduce the combat strength of aquatic creatures. Wang Xian stood at the top and stared at the members of the Dragon Palace who had entered the ocean with his yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes. Roar! 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 The moment they entered the ocean, over 200 berserk dragon species led by Ao Chitian and Ao Chi let out a roar. Their bodies instantly enlarged. Each of them was thousands of meters in size. They were holding metal rods or lightning hammer and spears. A terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. Whoosh! 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 Behind them, more than 200 starwood dragon species followed closely behind, densely packed thorns swaying behind them. At the last position were the members of Mao Zedong's Heavenly Eye Arrow Division. As for the thorned dragon species, they had already hidden themselves in the surrounding. They had all reached the first level of the Eternal Lord realm. The higher the third level, the stronger they could fight against the fourth level of the Eternal Lord realm sea monsters. The higher the second level, the stronger they could fight against the third level of the Eternal Lord realm sea monsters. Even the weakest Prime Minister Gui could fight the second-level sea monsters. However, Prime Minister Gui would not attack. The turtle shell in front of him was floating with pictures. Prime Minister Gui was commanding all the experts of the Dragon Palace. Heavenly Eye Arrow Division, attack immediately and attract some sea monsters to attack. Prime Minister Gui ordered immediately. Yes. 40 to 50 archdragon species immediately drew their bows, and terrifying energy condense. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 40 to 50 archdragon species could fight against a level 4 Eternal Lord under long-range attack. Each of them drew their bows, and arrows shot forward. The moment each arrow shot out, it immediately turned into a divine dragon. Boom, 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 boom. After a series of shots, one could see waves of water rising from the sky. It was as if there was a terrifying giant creature shuttling through the sea. 45 waves of water rushed into the sea monsters hundreds of kilometers ahead like dragons and snakes. Boom, boom, boom. The sea water exploded and rose up to 10,000 meters. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of sea monsters were killed. This was even when the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters discovered it and blocked it. Otherwise, millions of sea monsters could be killed. What is this? The soldiers of the three armies floating on the ocean looked down in surprise. What was going on? How could a terrifying attack suddenly burst out from below and kill hundreds of thousands of sea monsters? They hadn't even made a move yet. Roar. At the next moment, terrifying roars sounded one after another, including level 5 and 6 Eternal Godlords, and even stronger roars. The group of sea monsters charged towards the direction of the city wall below. They gave up on fighting against the soldiers of the army above. What strong archery skills, what strong strength. Xian Zhenshuo's face was filled with shock. He was strong enough to see the situation at the bottom of the black water. The 40 to 50 attacks just now were enough to kill a level 5 Eternal Lord sea monster. When Wang Xian saw this scene, a smile appeared on his face. When the sea monster exceeds level 5 of the Eternal Lord, the experts from the other legions will defend against it. Wang Xian spoke to Guardian Xian. Don't worry, they all understand. Guardian Xian nodded his head. His eyes were sparkling as he stared at the sea monster below. Roar. The sea surface was like a dragon and a snake crossing the sea. The commotion was vast. The roar shook the sky. Roar, roar, roar. The next moment, a similarly earth-shattering roar sounded as it charged towards the sea monsters ahead. Mad Dragon, fight. Starwood, fight. Arrow Dragon, lock onto the sea monsters above Eternal God Lord. Behind them, Prime Minister Gui ordered loudly. Yes. Over 200 Mad Dragon species charged forward, each of them several thousand meters in size and wielding terrifying weapons. Kill. The Berserk Draconic species roared, and blood-red energy charged forward. Darkness, fire, and lightning fused into one. Even if there were level 5 Eternal God Lord sea monsters ahead, they would still charge forward. Chapter 2318. 2318 Under the might of the 2318 Dragon Palace warriors. Boom, boom, boom. In the Blackwater Sea, when more than 200 Berserk dragon species attacked, the entire surface of the sea exploded. Black seawater surged into the sky. Streaks of blood-red energy that could be clearly seen swept forward. This was the first time that a battle had taken place at the bottom of the sea. The black seawater rose into the sky, and all the soldiers of the three legions looked down in astonishment. Bang, bang, bang. In the next moment, a terrifying collision sound was heard. Splash. Then, they saw many sea monsters being struck out of the water, and many of their limbs were flying in the air. The endless seawater surged hundreds of kilometers toward the front of the city wall. 4 to 5 million sea monsters were killed in one strike, and some Eternal Lord sea monsters who didn't have time to dodge were also killed. More than 20 members of the Dragon Palace were able to fight against stronger forces. In other words, the combined attack of more than 20 berserk dragon species could threaten a level 5 Eternal Godlord sea monster. This attack was no weaker than the full force attack of 10 level 5 Eternal Godlords. The weak sea monster at the front was killed. Roar. At this moment, roars sounded from the sea monsters ahead. Generals of the three armies, kill the sea monsters above rank 5 Eternal Godlords. Seeing this, Xuanzhen Shou immediately ordered. Yes. Several experts of the three armies locked their eyes on the sea monsters below. Warriors rarely experienced battles in the ocean. However, the sea monsters didn't lurk too deep, so the battle between experts wasn't affected at all. Staring at the dozens of sea monsters above Eternal Lord rank 5, the dozens of generals immediately launched their attack. Roar. Sensing the attack from above, the dozens of sea monsters were full of anger and fought back. Kill. With the help of experts to restrain the powerful sea monsters, the 200-odd berserk dragon species of the Dragon Palace charged into the sea monsters. The starwood dragon species followed closely behind and attacked the sea monsters. Boom. 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 In just 1 second, blood gushed out of the sea. Countless sea monsters were killed by the berserk dragon species and the starwood dragon species. At the rear, 40 to 50 members of the Heavenly Eye Arrow Division shot arrows at the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters. Rampage. Slaughter. Over 200 berserk dragon species, each of which was a few thousand meters long, were like a giant wall. At the rear, countless thorns were moving forward, easily piercing through the sea monsters. Slaughter. A naked slaughter. Every second, more than 10,000 sea monsters were killed, and many Eternal God Lord level sea monsters instantly fled back to the Eternal Divine Kingdom. There were only 500 to 600 Eternal Godlord sea monsters attacking the city, and the Eternal Godlord level sea monsters ranged from level 1 to level 9. However, 90% of the sea monsters were below level 5, and 90% were above level 5. And the sea monsters below level 5 of the Eternal Godlord level were completely beaten up by the Dragon Palace. As long as they didn't escape, they would die. As for the other sea monsters below Eternal Godlord, there was no need to mention it. The blood rolled, and the power of the seabed was extremely terrifying. Gulp. What's fighting with the sea monsters down there? What a terrifying power. In the sky above the sea, the soldiers of the three armies stared at the seabed in shock. They could vaguely see terrifying creatures fighting with the sea monsters. No, they were killing the sea monsters. They should be our people. Otherwise, our experts wouldn't have gone to support them, some people whispered. They couldn't participate in the battle at the bottom of the sea at all. This made the warriors float in the sky and look at the bottom of the sea in a daze. This was the first time such a situation had happened. So powerful. General Wang, your subordinates have such terrifying combat strength. Xuanzhen Guard stared at the bottom of the sea with awe in his eyes. More than 400 experts who could fight against an Eternal Lord Tier 4 expert were also a formidable force at the front line. Currently, there were about 3,000 Eternal Lords at the front line, but this did not mean that all 3,000 Eternal Lords could fight each time. Many Eternal Lords were healing their injuries, and some were cultivating. Every time they sent out Eternal Godlords, the sea monsters would send out more Eternal Godlord sea monsters. The number of Eternal Godlord sea monsters was more than the number of humans. Once half of these 3,000 people were seriously injured, the front line would basically be finished. The Eternal Godlords at the front line had to maintain 70% of their combat strength in order to deal with the attacks of the powerful sea monsters. In fact, 600 to 700 of the Eternal Godlords were currently recuperating. Although the casualty rate of the Eternal Godlord was relatively low, the casualty rate was not low either. In a one-on-one situation between humans and the sea monster Godlord, you could either make the sea monster flee back to its nest, or humans could return to the Eternal Kingdom. However, when humans returned to the Eternal Kingdom, they still needed experts to fight against this Eternal Godlord sea monster. Therefore, unless humans were seriously injured, they could not directly escape back to their eternal kingdom. Once they were seriously injured, it was rare for them to recuperate for 1 or 2 years. It was very common for them to spend more than 10 years. It also happened frequently in the eternal kingdom where they died in battle. It was normal for dozens of them to die in a year. Therefore, every time the sea monster attacked, the humans would only send out 3 or 4 legions while the rest of the legions rested. No one could stand the constant battle. When the members of the Dragon Palace attacked, they directly sent out 550 eternal god lords. Although none of them were top tier, they were not weak either. This time, the sea monsters would definitely suffer a tragic death. However, next time, the sea monsters might send out an even more suitable eternal god lord. They did not care about the fact that the god lord level sea monsters would send out even more next time. No matter how many of them were sent out, they would at most be equal to the Dragon Palace army. The addition of the Dragon Palace army was a great benefit to the front line. When the experts of the Dragon Palace army stepped out, the experts on their side could rest. They only needed some top-tier experts to guard the front line. At the bottom of the sea, more than 500 members of the Dragon Palace were fighting like gods of war. The members of the Dragon Palace who had been fighting all the way here, big and small, had more order than the army under the command of Prime Minister Gui. In just a short period of time, more than 500 members of the Dragon Palace were fighting against hundreds of millions of sea monsters. However, the members of the Dragon Palace only managed to hold back a portion of the sea monsters. There were also sea monsters attacking from other places. At this moment, the warriors of the 3 legions immediately charged forward. Compared to the past, the pressure of the battle this time was greatly reduced. At the very least, a few thousand people would be spared. General Wang, how are your subordinates going to participate in the battle in the future? There has to be a plan for us to make some adjustment. Chief Xian stared at the battle at the bottom of the sea excitedly and asked Wang Xian. He knew what it meant for the front line to have the combat strength of more than 500 people. We will participate in the battle every time. However, the spoils of war from killing the sea monsters will belong to us. Wang Xian replied directly. Every time we participate in the battle, it's best not to continue to participate in the battle if you get injured. The spoils of war will naturally belong to you guys. Guardian Xian was taken aback for a moment before he immediately said. Wang Xian smiled and nodded his head. The members of the Dragon Palace possessed the purest divine dragon bloodline. When they cultivated the divine dragon transformation technique, even if they were severely injured, they would need at most half a month and a month to recover. If they consumed the dragon blood, they would recover even faster. After all, they were a race that was at the peak of the universe. If they fought to nourish the battle, the Dragon Palace would only get stronger and stronger if they continued to fight here. In less than a year or 2, the number of Eternal Lord-level members of the Dragon Palace could reach up to tens of thousands or even more. Furthermore, with the protection of the experts at the front line, it would be difficult for the Dragon Palace to lose too much in every battle. It would be extremely profitable. I can go and tame my war pets and sell them in peace. In the future, the Dragon Palace will become stronger and stronger. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled with excitement. Chapter 2319. 2319-2319 smashed the battlefield. Boom, boom, boom. In the Blackwater Sea, the battle was still going on. The battle had progressed from the bottom of the sea to the surface of the sea. On the city wall, everyone looked at the members of the Dragon Palace who had half of their bodies exposed on the surface of the sea in a daze. 3,000 to 4,000 meters in size, blood-red energy was revolving around their bodies. Each attack contained extremely violent power. Of course, what shocked them the most was their violent bodies and bodies. Every member of the Dragon Palace looked even more violent than the powerful sea monsters. With the top-tier experts of the 3 legions holding back the top-tier sea monsters, the members of the Dragon Palace massacred them wantonly. Even the level 5 Eternal Lord sea monsters were heavily injured and fled under the siege. Roar, roar, roar. With a trace of fear, roars came from the battlefield in front of them. Behind them, the sea monsters fled in panic. The sea monsters knew fear and also knew how to escape. So powerful. Where did this power come from? How come there are so many powerful warriors on our front line? Seeing the sea monsters fleeing, the warriors of the 3 legions looked at the experts of the Dragon Palace who had revealed half of their bodies in a daze. There were more than 200 violent bodies, more than 200 tree men with terrifying thorns, and dozens of extremely powerful archers. Each of them was stronger than the other. They stood in a row and looked like an invincible city wall. This was almost comparable to the obliteration cannon at the front line of the Federation's royal family. Not bad. Wang Xian looked down and revealed a smile. Although the rewards from killing the sea monsters were not as great as the last time he ruled, it wouldn't be a problem to increase the number of Eternal Masters by 30 to 40. The members of the Dragon Palace would become stronger as they fought. This is our new army of the Blackwater front line, the Dragon Palace army. All the warriors, salute. Guardian Shen was also looking at the members of the Dragon Palace with a face full of joy. They had only been standing there for 5 hours. The death rate was 70% to 80% lower than before. If the army of the Dragon Palace could stand guard here forever, it would be a great joy for the Blackwater front. Salute. All the warriors around shouted excitedly as they looked at the members of the Dragon Palace on the surface of the sea. The strong would be respected wherever they went, especially when they helped to suppress the sea monsters and defended the front line. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group of Dragon Palace members moved and flew towards the city wall. Dragon King, Prime Minister Gui and the rest greeted Wang Xian respectfully. That's right, Prime Minister Gui. From now on, you will be in charge of the matters here. If you have any problems, you can look for General Shen Zhen and other generals. Wang Xian said to them in satisfaction. If you have any problems, you can look for me, General Shen Zhensho said with a smile from the side. Prime Minister Gui nodded at him with a smile. Send all the spoils of war back to the Dragon Palace. I'll be leaving first, Wang Xian said to the members of the Dragon Palace. With a move of his body, he immediately flew into the distance. Now that the matters in the Dragon Palace had been settled, he had to continue to tame his war pet. There were many sea monsters on the battlefield, but he could not tame his war pets here. Once the formation was set up, he would be attacked by the powerful sea monsters. The formation would be broken and the Eternal God Lord sea monsters would be able to escape immediately. Therefore, he still needed that idiot from the Battle Technique Secondary School. After visiting an academy and watching the students' cultivation, Wang Xian went straight to the teleportation formation of the academy. Although the battlefield was adjacent to the Xian Heaven domain, it would take at least 4 to 5 days to fly there. With Wang Xian's current strength, it would take 4 to 5 days. One could imagine how far it was. He could reach it in 1 to 2 hours through the teleportation formation. The battlefield city. This was an incomparably vast city with towering buildings and trees. Some birds were flying in the sky. Wang Xian walked out from the teleportation formation and walked forward with the crowd. When he arrived at an empty area, he moved his arm and a strand of hair appeared in his hand. Blood connection. The hair was naturally the second best part of the battle technique. It was formed by a formation. BZZZ. However, when he placed the hair into the formation, it melted rapidly and produced a BZZZ sound. What is this? The treasure on that fellow's body can withstand some formations? Wang Xian's face turned black and he frowned slightly. Without the formation to lock onto his location, where could he find him? Go straight to the Battle Techniques family? Even if he went straight there, with that fellow's character, people would say that he wasn't there. You better not let me catch you. Otherwise, just you wait. Wang Xian's face was dark and his eyes were shining. He opened his AI and immediately checked some information about invincible combat techniques. However, before he saw the news about invincible combat techniques, he saw the news about the Dragon Palace's war pet. He casually checked and found that the current Dragon Palace's war pet was abnormally popular. Especially the few photos, the number of views was beyond his imagination. Ever since the last promotion of the Dragon Palace's War Pets shop, the Dragon Palace's War Pets had entered everyone's sight. And the few photos completely made the Dragon Palace's war pets become extremely popular. The few photos were of Wang Xian and Yong Xingpingli fighting. At that time, the array formation had just been broken by the island master of the Tianhai Island, revealing the scene of the ice drill crack and hundreds of eternal lord-level war pet. In the photo, the battle pets were bursting with energy and were exuding an extremely powerful aura. With so many battle pets, it naturally caused the entire natural selection continent to be in an uproar. This also caused the Dragon Palace battle pets to become completely popular. He took a look at his own shop on the AI. The attention rating had reached 100 billion, which made Wang Xian slightly speechless. However, when he saw some of the comments below, his face turned extremely dark. An organization that claimed to be the support group for Invincible battle technique flooded the comment section. All of them were scolding him. Fuck. Wang Xian remembered this debt and blamed it all on Invincible battle technique. Invincible Casino. After checking some information, Wang Xian saw a message. Invincible Casino was the biggest and most popular entertainment venue in the entire battle technique city, and this Invincible entertainment ground was opened by Invincible battle technique. I didn't expect this kid to open a shop. Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly and searched for the location on the AI. He immediately flew towards Invincible entertainment ground. Hey! What a huge entertainment ground! Wang Xian flew to the sky above the entertainment ground. A hint of shock appeared on his face. It was about 4 to 5 kilometers in size and was about 3,000 meters tall. Wang Xian took a rough look. There were more than 100 floors, and each floor was relatively tall. The word Invincible was written on the walls of the entire building. It was exceptionally eye-catching. The geographical location was needless to be mentioned. TSK, TSK, TSK. If I were to come over and cause trouble, would that kid come out? Wang Xian smacked his lips as his eyes sparkled. This time, Wang Xian wanted to teach that fellow a good lesson. He wanted to let him know how powerful he was. Chapter 2320. 23-20 smashed the place. The first floor was the beast fighting zone. When Wang Xian entered the first floor of the Invincible Casino, he saw a glass-sealed pool in the middle. In the pool, there were 2 sea monsters fighting each other. Everyone in the surroundings was shouting excitedly. The area of each floor of the Invincible Casino was huge. There were at least 1,000 people shouting in the surroundings. He took a glance and walked to the elevator. Then, he walked straight to the top floor. The top floor was the most luxurious and expensive area in the entire Invincible Casino. There was a formation on the top floor that could overlook the entire battle tactics city. It had the most luxurious restaurant and the most high-tech arena. Ding! The elevator opened. Wang Xian wanted to cause a ruckus and attract Invincible's attention. Naturally, he wanted to go to the top floor. In the end, he had to demolish his entire building if he had to. Welcome to Our Lady's birthday party. Please show us your invitation. The elevator had just opened when the 2 beauties at the door suddenly spoke to Wang Xian. This made him slightly stunned. A hint of astonishment flashed across his eyes. Whose birthday party? Wang Xian was stunned for a moment before he asked. This. Of course it's Our Lady's birthday party. Don't you know? Young master, you are not allowed to enter without an invitation. The 2 waiters were slightly stunned as they spoke immediately. Who is Miss Tianmai? Who is she that is invincible in battle techniques? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and asked. Young master, Miss Tianmai is the younger sister of the young master of battle techniques. If you don't have an invitation, you are not allowed to enter. The waiters spoke to him patiently. Younger sister? Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. Young master, please leave first. The 2 waiters noticed that Wang Xian obviously didn't know anything. It was obvious that he wasn't here for the birthday party. Hence, they said immediately, I'm not too sure. However, it was that guy, Invincible in combat, who invited me today. I don't have an invitation letter. Wang Xian shook his head indifferently. This, you are not allowed to enter without an invitation letter. The 2 waiters were slightly stunned and shook their heads. Then get that guy Invincible in combat arts to come over, Wang Xian said directly. Young master, Invincible in combat arts hasn't come over yet. If you don't have an invitation. This can be used as an invitation. As the waiters continued to speak, Wang Xian moved his arm and took out the general badge given to him by guard Xian Zhan. This is. The two waiters were a little confused. One of them took the AI and scanned it. This. When she saw the information displayed on the AI, her mouth gaped slightly. His identity can't be fake. Let's wait for that guy who is invincible in combat techniques to come over. Wang Xian waved his hand at them and walked straight in. The two waiters hesitated for a moment but didn't stop him. They really didn't dare to stop the frontline general of the mysterious sky territory. Perhaps only young Master Invincible can get to know such a young general. The two waiters looked at each other and whispered. When Wang Xian heard the two waiters whispering to each other, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly and a smile appeared on his face. If I can find an invincible warrior today, I will beat him up. He mumbled and walked inside. As soon as he entered, Wang Xian saw that the entire top floor had been temporarily converted into a birthday venue. At this moment, there were a total of 600 to 700 people inside. Most of them were young men and women. A small number of them were middle-aged men and women. Each and every one of them was dressed in extremely beautiful clothes. Wang Xian swept his gaze over and indeed, there was no one who was invincible in battle. He walked straight inside. He didn't care whether the others recognized him or not. He found a seat and sat down. He took out the fruits on the table and started eating. I heard young Master Wudi is here today. Of course. Young Master Wudi dotes on Sister Tianmai so much. Naturally, he wouldn't miss her birthday. I really envy Sister Tianmai. She has such a good brother. Now, young Master Wudi has an Eternal Lord level 5 mount. Even some middle-aged people are no match for him. Young Master Wudi is also handsome. If I were to. Wang Xian had just sat down when he heard the discussion of a few girls around him as if they were infatuated with him. Invincible is a piece of trash. Wang Xian heard their words and said indifferently, "Huh? Who are you? Why are you talking about young Master Invincible like that? Are you asking for a beating?" When the girls heard his words, they turned their heads and said to Wang Xian with sullen faces. Wang Xian smiled and ignored them. The girls glared at him for a few seconds before turning around with a snort. Miss Tianmai is here. At this moment, a voice sounded. At the front, a girl in a long dress walked out. The girl was full of smiles and had exquisite looks. She was indeed a rare beauty. Thank you all for coming to my birthday party. The girl came out and said to everyone in the hall with a smile on her face. Her sweet voice was pleasing to the ears. Wang Xian sat down and took a look. Jean Fa Tianmai spoke and soon, men and women walked towards her. They surrounded her and spoke non-stop. One by one, they gave her gifts and chatted with her. Jean Fa Tianmai also chatted happily with each and every one of them. After a full half an hour, the crowd slowly quieted down. Jean Fa Tianmai held a glass of fruit wine and started to serve those who didn't come over to chat earlier. Wang Xian sat there and looked at the AI in boredom. After another half an hour, he didn't see any sign of invincible Jean Fa. Hello, young master. May I know who you are? At this moment, a voice sounded. Wang Xian sensed 5 or 6 people walking in front of him. In the middle, Jean Fa Tianmai was holding a fruit wine and looking at him with some doubt. Is your brother not here yet? Wang Xian didn't answer her question and asked her instead. My brother? This guy said he's here but he hasn't come over yet. Jean Fa Tianmai pouted slightly and said unhappily. Send him a video call from your brain and tell him to come over immediately. Wang Xian said to her. Oh right, you haven't told me who you are. Do you know my brother? Jean Fa Tianmai sized him up in puzzlement. I know him. I've been waiting for him for a long time. Use the AI to open the video call and inform her. Wang Xian waved at her and said. Why don't you look for young Master Invincible yourself? Also, this is Sister Tianmai's birthday party. How did you get in? The woman standing beside Tianmai stared at Wang Xian and questioned him. That guy owes me money and now he wants to renege on his debt. Hurry up and inform Invincible battle technique. Wang Xian continued to speak impatiently. Young master, don't joke around here. How could my brother owe you money? Please leave now. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, Tianmai battle technique looked a little embarrassed as she spoke with a dark expression. Her brother was invincible in battle techniques and was a heaven's favorite in the land of battle techniques. How could he owe anyone money? How did you get in here? Get out now. You even said that invincible in battle techniques owes you money. Next time, find a better reason and get lost. A young man who had been following around Jean Fa Tianmai shouted at Wang Xian. How dare he cause trouble at Tianmai's birthday party? He was courting death. Chapter 2321. 2321 2321. Your sister is in my hands. In the hall, everyone was attracted by the situation over here. When some people heard the cold voice, they immediately walked over. Get out now, or you'll have to bear the consequences. The few girls beside Jean Fa Tianmai also looked at Wang Xian in disgust and said coldly, this fellow was purely here to cause trouble. Everyone who was able to come here today had extraordinary backgrounds in the Jean Fa land. If they dared to cause trouble here, the consequences would be terrible. Wang Xian looked at the people around him who were staring at him coldly. There was a look of helplessness on his face. Contact your brother immediately, Wang Xian said to Tianmai. Get out of here immediately. A middle-aged man walked over and shouted at Wang Xian coldly. An aura that belonged to the Eternal Lord was directed towards Wang Xian. You're courting death. Wang Xian looked at him indifferently and waved his arm. Boom. An extremely powerful force landed on the middle-aged man's body. His entire body broke through the floor and fell downward. What? Everyone was stunned. Looking at the hole that appeared under the middle-aged man's body, a look of shock appeared on their faces. Hurry up, hurry up. Today, we are here to cause trouble at Invincible Entertainment Ground. Inform Invincible battle technique. Wang Xian waved his hand at Invincible battle technique. You are courting death. How dare you cause trouble here? Around them, a group of young men pointed at Wang Xian in shock. He actually dared to cause trouble here. Not to mention their backgrounds, today was the birthday of Invincible battle technique. Needless to say, Invincible battle technique had a background. To cause trouble here was practically making an enemy out of the entire land of battle technique. Making an enemy out of the immortal king was an act of courting death. Shut up all of you. Cut the crap. Quick, quick, inform the Chunibya of Invincible battle technique. Damn it, he owes money and wants to renege on his debt. As Wang Xian spoke, he waved his arm and the heavenly beauty of battle technique came directly in front of him. He placed his hand on the heavenly beauty of battle technique and said with a smile, You, stop immediately. Let go of heavenly beauty. The surrounding young men and women were panicking. However, after witnessing an Eternal Lord-level powerhouse being beaten down, they did not dare to make a move rashly. What are you going to do? At this moment, Jean Fa Tianmai was also panicking. She felt that her body was being restrained and her face was slightly pale. Don't worry. I won't hurt you. Contact your brother via video call. Wang Xian said to her again. All right, I'll contact him. Jean Fa Tianmai nodded with a bitter expression. She could sense Wang Xian's strength. If he really wanted to harm her, she wouldn't be able to resist at all. Moreover, from the looks of it, it didn't seem like he had a life-and-death grudge with her brother. She gestured to the people around her and immediately took out her AI to contact Invincible battle technique. Little sister, brother will be here soon. Don't be anxious, don't be anxious. Brother will give you a surprise later. The moment the video was played, Invincible battle technique's voice was heard from inside. Chunibya, your sister is in my hands. Come here immediately, or we'll become a family. At this moment, Invincible battle technique was in the home of a beast tamer master in the battle technique city. It was his sister's birthday, so he naturally had to prepare a big gift. He happened to get an ice drill crocodile and a northern howling sky wolf from that guy last time. He was going to ask the beast tamer master to help his sister tame the northern howling sky wolf. He immediately answered his sister's call. However, when he heard the reply from the AI, his expression changed drastically. He immediately looked at the video and saw a face with a cold smile. Wang Xian, if you dare to touch a single hair on my sister, I will be your enemy. Invincible in combat arts immediately jumped up and roared. However, the next moment, the video was cut off. This damn fellow. He actually found this place and even kidnapped Tian Mai. Arth. Invincible battle technique looked at the pitch-black video and his expression changed drastically. We're a family now. This fellow won't do anything to my sister, right? Wang Xian, if you dare, invincible battle technique and you will be enemies. Isn't it just a dozen of elixirs? Invincible battle technique roared. Without any hesitation, he flew straight towards Invincible entertainment ground. This damn guy, he actually kidnapped my sister. Invincible battle technique roared in a low voice as he flew. However, just as he was hurrying over, someone arrived at Invincible entertainment ground at an even more terrifying speed. This was the birthday of Invincible battle technique. When Wang Xian came out to cause trouble and ruin the scene, when the level 1 Eternal Lord powerhouse was penetrated through the entire building by Wang Xian, someone contacted the elders in his family. This group of people were all the descendants of the current powerhouses in the land of battle techniques. When they learned that there was trouble here, more than a dozen powerhouses immediately flew over. Boom, boom, boom. On the top floor of the Invincible casino, more than a dozen figures flew over with cold faces. The terrifying aura directly tore apart the top floor of the entire building. Who dares to cause trouble in our combat arts land? An old man stared coldly at the position of the hall. The experts from our combat arts land are here. Our experts are here. That fellow is dead for sure. How dare he cause trouble in our place? Seeing the group of experts flying over, the group of young men and women heaved a sigh of relief. They looked at Wang Xian, who was holding on to the heavenly beauty of combat arts. Their eyes were filled with anger. This fellow is dead for sure. Senior, he is the one who came to cause trouble. Now, he is holding on to Tian Mai's younger sister. Just now, he even injured big brother Tian Feng. A young man immediately flew over and shouted loudly. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of killing intent charged toward Wang Xian. Hey! However, two of them recognized Wang Xian immediately when they saw him. This person seemed to be the boss of the Dragon Palace's battle pet. When more than 10 experts flew over, Wang Xian also saw them. He swept his gaze across a few familiar figures and revealed a faint smile on his face. He's here to collect the debt. There's no other way. That guy, Invincible, wants to renege on his debt. Wang Xian looked at those figures and said indifferently, Kid, what nonsense are you talking about? How could Invincible owe you money? To dare to cause trouble in our land of battle techniques, he has to pay a heavy price. A middle-aged man shouted angrily. Don't be anxious. That guy Invincible will be here soon. You will know in a while. Wang Xian smiled at the few of them and didn't care at all. He was here to collect the debt. What was there to be afraid of? You. Cough, cough. The middle-aged man wanted to say something but was stopped by the others. They coughed softly. It was possible that they owed money to Invincible in battle. They were in the wrong now. Furthermore, the other party didn't hurt anyone. They couldn't make a move now. It would be bad if they were to lose face. Boss Wang, you can't do it this way, right? Another middle-aged man said with a dark face. There's no other way. If you don't reply to my messages, you can only come to his Invincible entertainment ground to mess things up. Wang Xian said calmly. Everyone around was slightly stunned when they heard the words of Wang Xian and the few elders. Their faces were filled with astonishment. What was going on? Wang Xian, I'm invincible in combat because I owe you some elixirs. How dare you kidnap my sister? At this moment, an extremely furious voice was heard. Chapter 2322. 2322 2322 beat him up violently. Wang Xian, I'm invincible in battle technique just because I owe you some elixirs. How dare you kidnap my sister? An exasperated voice sounded in the sky above the battle technique city. Invincible in battle technique flew towards the Invincible entertainment ground at a terrifying speed. When he saw that the roof of his entertainment ground had been torn off and Wang Xian placed his arm on his sister's body, his eyes were burning with fury. Wang Xian, this fellow, was outrageous. This. When Tianmai heard her brother's voice, she was slightly stunned. The corner of her mouth could not help but twitch. Did her brother really owe him elixirs? The faces of the few experts from the land of battle techniques turned dark as well. Fortunately, they did not make a move just now. If the rest of the people from the Tianzi continent knew that someone had come to settle the score and beat him up, their land of battle techniques would have lost a lot of face. I owe you some elixirs. Do you still owe me a few dozen level 5 elixirs of the Eternal Lord? Wang Xian heard his words and saw this fellow flying over. He asked with a dark face. At the same time, his body moved. He raised his fist and attacked him directly. Bullshit, I am invincible in my battleground. I only owe you 15 level 5 elixirs of the Eternal Lord. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, Invincible's face turned dark. Since when did he owe you more than 10 elixirs? When the crowd heard Invincible's words, they turned around and didn't want to see this scene. He owed 15 Eternal Lord level elixirs. How many elixirs were these? Elixirs of this grade were priceless. No wonder others came knocking on his door. Bang! The next moment, they heard an extremely violent collision sound. Everyone looked over immediately. They saw their invincible young master flying backward. I'm going to teach you a good lesson today. You owe me pills. The AI has contacted you yet you still haven't replied. You want to renege on your debt. Now, with interest, you have to return me 50 pills. Wang Xian's fist landed on Invincible's body as he stared coldly at his body that was sent flying. You bastard, rob me of my money. Invincible roared furiously as his body crashed onto the ground. Mph, I won't give it to you. If you don't give it to me next time, I'll kidnap your sister. Wang Xian landed on the ground and grabbed him directly. Bam! A powerful force landed on his body as his body was sent flying towards Invincible entertainment field. Wang Xian, don't go too far. This is the territory of my Invincible battle technique. If you dare to touch me or threaten me again, I won't return your pills. You won't be able to kill me anyway. Invincible battle technique roared furiously. His body penetrated through the building behind him and the entire building. If you don't return it, I will tear down your Invincible casino. Wang Xian moved his body and instantly appeared on the body of Invincible battle technique. He grabbed his body and smashed it towards the building again. Now that Wang Xian's strength had increased greatly, Invincible battle technique was no different from a doll in front of him. However, the ultimate treasure on this guy was too powerful. Even with his current strength, he couldn't break through his defense. Roar. At this moment, Invincible battle technique, who had been beaten up by Wang Xian, was a little angry. His body shook and the Eternal Kingdom appeared behind him. The ice drill crocodile flew out from it. The ice drill crocodile roared and Invincible battle technique stood proudly on it. He knew Wang Xian's strength. He was at level 5 of the Eternal Lord. With the ice drill crocodile, he could still fight against it. Wang Xian, if you dare to attack me again, don't blame me for being impolite to you. Invincible battle technique stood proudly on the ice drill crocodile and said with a dark face, "Idiot, I gave you this ice drill crocodile. Then, the battle pet I gave you still wants to deal with me. With your strength, there's no way you can suppress the ice drill alligator. Moreover, to prevent you from not returning the money, don't I have any other tricks up my sleeves?" Wang Xian looked at the ice drill alligator beneath him and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. Buzz. His aura shook and he charged towards the ice drill alligator. Roar. Roar. The ice drill alligator immediately roared and twisted its body. Streams of ice rushed towards the Invincible battle tactic on its body. Damn it, Wang Xian, you tricked me. The Invincible battle tactic saw the ice drill alligator attacking him and flying towards Wang Xian. It roared furiously. The ice drill alligator actually flew towards Wang Xian and abandoned him. This was his ice drill alligator, a level 5 battle pet of the Eternal Celestial Master. So what if I tricked you? If you don't return the money, I will take back the ice drill alligator, Wang Xian said to him indifferently. When did I say that I won't return the money? At this moment, the helpless Invincible Battle Technique's voice weakened as he said to Wang Xian with a dark face. Then why didn't you reply to my message? Wang Xian stared at him mockingly. I didn't see it. Invincible Battle Technique said in a low voice. Buzz. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept the ice drill crocodile into the mother nest. Alright, we are all friends. Don't hurt your feelings just because of a little money. Since I'm here, bring me around. Wang Xian couldn't help but roll his eyes when he saw the look on Wang Xian's face. You. Give me my battle pet. Invincible's expression changed. Let's see your performance. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Hee, Boss Wang, what kind of relationship do we have? Boss Wang, you own a pet shop in the Dragon Palace and you still care about an ice drill crocodile? With our relationship, you still care about a little money. Indeed, talking about money hurts our relationship. Since Boss Wang has come to the land of battle techniques, I, Invincible of Battle Techniques, will definitely treat you with great hospitality. Invincible of Battle Techniques' expression changed and he quickly burst into laughter. He couldn't win the fight, and he owed money. Hence, his battle pet was taken back. What could he do? If he were to look for the elders in his family, not only would he be shameless, even if he was shameless, the elders in his family might not even make a move. This was too embarrassing. Speaking of the Dragon Palace's battle pet shop, I do recall that there seems to be your support group scolding me under my shop. I will have to put this debt on your head. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and walked to Invincible Battle Technique's side. Then, he patted his shoulder heavily. Really? How is that possible? Why would my support group scold Boss Wang? If I know about it, I will definitely criticize them. Invincible Battle Technique's expression changed slightly as he said this while feigning confusion. He naturally knew about the publicity of the Dragon Palace's war pet shop. He was the one who led the group to scold Wang Xian. Of course, he couldn't say anything about this matter. Hee. Wang Xian patted his head. Invincible Battle Technique's face was dark and he didn't dare to resist. This Boss Wang, my sister's birthday is today. You can't do such a thing next time. After all, my sister is your sister. Invincible Battle Technique said to Wang Xian with a dark face. If you didn't go back on your word, why would I get your sister to call you over? If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. Wang Xian said indifferently. Invincible Battle Technique gritted his teeth and didn't say a word. Around them, the young men and women of Invincible Battle Technique were twitching their lips when they saw this scene. Is this my brother? Is this the peerless prodigy of the land of battle technique? This was the first time they had seen such a shameless scene. Chapter 23-23. 23-23 each and every one of them was more arrogant than the last. Tianmai, let me introduce you to Wang Xian, Boss Wang. He is a very loyal and good person. He is the boss of the Dragon Palace's pet shop. Boss Wang was the one who helped me tame my ice drill croc. On the top floor of Invincible Casino, Invincible Battle Technique introduced his sister with a smile. Hello. Wang Xian nodded at Invincible Battle Technique Tianmai with a smile. Yes, you. Hello. Invincible Battle Technique Tianmai looked at Wang Xian weakly and said, Little sister, it's your birthday today. I've prepared a war pet for you, the Northern Howling Sky Wolf. How about it? It's a war pet of the second level of the Eternal Celestial Master. Boss Wang, my sister is your sister. Help me tame her later. Invincible Battle Technique winked at Wang Xian and said, Sure. Wang Xian nodded his head. Hehe, that's good. Then, can you return my battle pet to me? Invincible Battle Technique smiled at him. Heh. What? Didn't you use the ice drill alligator to pay for it? Wang Xian looked at him in astonishment. Boss Wang, you can't bully others like this. Invincible Battle Technique's expression kept changing. In the end, he said with a crying face, I will treat others the way they treat me, Wang Xian said slowly. That's my battle pet. Invincible battle technique growled in a low voice with a face full of unwillingness. Let's see how you perform. Wang Xian said leisurely. Boss Wang, you will be my boss for the rest of my life. Let's not talk about other things. In the land of battle technique, I am the boss of my ancestors, your second brother, and my third brother. In this territory, no one dares to provoke you. You can do whatever you want. Invincible battle technique raised his head and spoke to Wang Xian with a serious expression. As he spoke, he patted his chest. Tian Mai, who was at the side, turned her gaze to the side. Her brother was not like this. Her brother was a peerless heaven's favorite. He was outstanding in the entire land of battle techniques and suppressed all the young men of the same generation. He had monstrous talent. This was not her brother. My strength has improved this time. I'll bring you to continue catching sea monsters and battle pet. Wang Xian said to him. Improved? Your strength has improved. Can you handle the ice-splitting swallowfish of the level 6 Eternal Lord? Boss Wang, I don't want the ice-drilling crocodile anymore. I want the ice-splitting swallowfish. Haha, that battle pet is cool. Invincible in the battlefield trembled slightly. Following that, he shouted excitedly. It depends on your performance. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and continued to speak. As long as this fellow was willing to go with him to capture a war pet, it didn't matter even if he was given a level 6 war pet of the Eternal Lord. He could even do it even if it was a level 7 war pet. With him around, capturing a war pet would be much easier. Ha ha ha, good boss. I don't want the little ice drill crocodile anymore. When do we set off? Invincible battle technique asked excitedly. The sooner the better, Wang Xian said with a smile. All right. Let's set off today. Invincible battle technique couldn't help but say. Brother, it's my birthday today. My parents said that they want to have dinner together. Invincible battle technique, who was at the side, said unhappily. Oh, right, I almost forgot. Little sister, this time when I'm back, I'll get you a level 6 or 7 war pet of the Eternal Lord. How about it, Boss Wang? You won't be stingy with your little sister, right? Invincible battle technique said with a smile as he looked at Wang Xian. As long as you get a lot of rewards, I can give you a level 6 or 7 battle pet of the Eternal Lord. Wang Xian promised directly. Did you hear that, little sister? This guy is a big shot. Wait for me to scam some good stuff for you. Invincible battle technique transmitted his voice to his little sister and winked at her. Amitabha fighter nodded his head speechlessly. Boss Wang, let's have a meal together later, Invincible fighter said without asking him if he agreed or not. He flew straight to the back of the city. Behind them was a huge mountain range. In the middle of the mountain range was a valley, and beside it was a river. Here, there were mountains and rivers. It was a rare paradise. Invincible brought it home. His parents were also the higher-ups of the land of combat. One of them had the strength of a level 6 Eternal Lord while the other had the strength of a level 3 Eternal Lord. Both of them were slightly surprised by Wang Xian's arrival. However, he had already learned about what happened today. Wang Xian didn't say anything after a simple meal with him. Invincible, you can make friends with this friend of yours. It will be beneficial to you. Seeing Wang Xian leave with a servant, the woman poured a cup of tea for the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man said slowly to him, Of course. Not to mention other things, Boss Wang is extremely powerful. He is also a beast tamer master. This time, I will go out with him. Next time, I will bring a level 6 or 7 war pet of the Eternal Lord. By then, even you are no match for me, Dad. Ha ha ha. Invincible battle technique laughed arrogantly. Peng. A huge palm slapped on his head, causing invincible battle technique to be a little stunned. His aura is very young, and his strength is also very strong. Moreover, I've looked up some information about him. He has the position of Blackwater Frontline General of the mysterious Sky Domain, the middle-aged man said indifferently to him. Blackwater Frontline General? Is he that powerful? After a while, I will ask the Patriarch to give me the position of a general. Invincible battle technique said indifferently. "Shut up, you brat, don't make trouble for me." The middle-aged man shouted at him angrily. There are many vice-generals in Blackwater Frontline, but there are only 18 true generals. The weakest one is at the 9th level of the Eternal Divine Lord, and he has a huge military industry. He became a general at such a young age not only because of his strength and ability, but also because of Son of Heaven Xian. The middle-aged man drank a cup of tea and said with a serious face, "So powerful, isn't he even more powerful than brother in the land of battle techniques?" Tian Mai, who was at the side, opened her mouth and said with a face full of shock, "Your big brother is not as powerful as him. Not long ago, he killed an Eternal Lord rank 4 expert in the Heavenly Academy and killed 2 Heaven's favorites who were plotting against him. He rushed to the front line and killed 2 Eternal rank 5 commanders in the front line of Blackwater. He's much more arrogant than your big brother." The middle-aged man looked at his daughter and said indifferently, "This battle tactics unrivaled beauty." Opened her mouth slightly, her face full of shock. "Awesome, as expected of Boss Wang. He can be so arrogant in the mysterious sky territory. TSK, I am indeed a little inferior compared to him." Battle tactics unrivaled's eyes flashed with a luster, and he was also full of amazement. Get lost, don't bother me here." The middle-aged man saw him like this and didn't want to remind him anymore. He waved his hand at him. Invincible battle technique walked away with a smile. He kept thinking in his heart, Boss Wang was so arrogant and unbridled in the mysterious sky territory. If he wanted to achieve this step, he was still far from it. If I can have an Eternal God Lord level 7 or 8 battle pet, I can also be so arrogant in the battle technique land, he murmured, his eyes full of fighting spirit. Chapter 23-24. 23-24 Sky Realm. Let's go. If you get more rewards this time, feel free to choose any battle pets of level 6, 7, or even level 8. The next day, Wang Xian promised to Invincible battle technique. He knew that this guy had some ulterior motives last time. This time, he had to give him a sweet date first. "Boss Wang, it can't be. Even an existence of level 8 Eternal Lord can be tamed." Unrivaled battle technique was holding some food in his hands. Suddenly, he widened his eyes and said to Wang Xian, "What do you think?" Wang Xian smiled faintly. A terrifying pressure surged towards unrivaled battle technique. Feeling this pressure, unrivaled battle technique's expression changed drastically. How was this possible? It was really comparable to the pressure of level 8 of the Master of Eternal God. Previously, they were still being chased by the ice-splitting swallowfish. The level 8 combat strength of the Master of Eternal God was considered a top-notch expert in the entire Tianzi continent. It seemed that it would be difficult for him to turn things around. However, it was a level 8 war pet of the Master of Eternal God. Invincible's eyes slowly turned red. He threw the food in his hand and hugged Wang Xian's thigh. "Boss Wang, as long as I have a level 8 war pet of the Master of Eternal God, I will definitely not have any objections." He stared at Wang Xian with a burning face and roared, "It all depends on your own performance. Don't think that I don't know what happened last time." Wang Xian looked at him indifferently. "Don't worry, Boss Wang. I will not slack off this time. This time, we will get at least 1,000 war pets of the Eternal God Lord. In the future, the war pets of the Dragon Palace will not only be famous in the Heaven Selection continent, but also in the entire greater world. In the future, I, Invincible in battle techniques, will be the deputy manager of the pet shop of the Dragon Palace. I will work hard for the glory of the pet shop of the Dragon Palace without any salary." Invincible in battle techniques raised his head and shouted with a face full of confidence. Wang Xian glanced at him. His performance was pretty good. "Let's go," he said faintly. "Boss Wang, I think we should change to another place." Suddenly, Invincible battle technique said to Wang Xian, "Change to another place?" Wang Xian looked at him. Due to the temperature in the northern region of extreme cold, there are fewer sea monsters there compared to other places. Furthermore, it's rare to see sea monsters of level 7 or 8 of the Eternal Lord. I think we can go to the sea region of the sky realm. There are more sea monsters there. There are illusion-colored fish, colorful dragon pythons, stellar flying fish, earth-scale turtle, conch sea monsters, triangular horseshoe crabs that are suitable for Mount Invincible introduced to Wang Xian, the sea area of the sky realm. Wang Xian looked at him with slight doubt. Boss Wang, don't tell me you don't even know the sea area of the sea area of the sky realm? The sea area of the sea area of the sky realm is located at the junction of the land of battle techniques and the city of the sky. Because the people in the city of the sky are afraid of death, there are more sea monsters in the land of the sky realm. The colorful dragon pythons of the earth-scale turtle are all sea monsters of level 7 and 8 of the Eternal Lord. If we are lucky, we can capture more than 1,000 sea monsters as battle pet. Invincible battle technique's eyes were glowing as he spoke. All right, lead the way. Let's go. Wang Xian said directly. Wang Xian knew about the city in the sky. In the Tianzi continent, there were 4 factions that had immortal god kings. They were the Xian Heaven Domain, the Battle Technique Clan, the Sword Domain, and the City in the Sky. The City in the Sky was just like its name. It was a city that was located in the sky that was more than 100,000 meters high. It was also the safest place in the Tianzi continent. It was said that the City in the Sky was built to withstand the attacks of the sea monsters. The city was suspended in the sky. Naturally, it would be better to avoid the attacks of the sea monsters. Let's go, Boss Wang. This time, let's do something big. Invincible battle technique was full of excitement as he spoke to Wang Xian. His fighting spirit was high. Invincible battle technique led the way. After teleporting a few times, the two of them flew towards the sea. Boss Wang, that sea area is a little different from the other sea areas. There are many algae and jellyfish floating in the middle of that sea area. Some of them are extremely poisonous. That sea area is much more dangerous than the Arctic North. There are even level 9 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord. We have to be careful. Invincible reminded Wang Xian, what is the limit of your defense? Wang Xian asked him. As long as we don't encounter any immortal king-level sea monsters, there won't be too much of a problem. Invincible said proudly. All right then. Our main target this time is level 1 to level 8 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord. If you don't try your best, you will end up with nothing. Wang Xian warned him. Don't worry, Boss Wang. I will definitely get the level 8 war pet of the Eternal God Lord. Invincible in battle strategy said with a smile. This time, no matter how much effort he put in, as long as he could get a level 8 war pet of the Eternal Godlord, he was willing. The two of them flew above the sea surface. The deep seabed emitted a terrifying aura. After flying for a day, the surface of the sea in front of them suddenly changed. The surface of the sea was sparkling, emitting a colorful luster. The place below was not as deep as the other parts of the sea. Instead, it was emitting light. The surface of the sea is somewhat related to the city in the sky. The city in the sky is located in the sky. The light shines on the city in the sky, and eventually falls here, forming this sparkling sea area. As a result, a large amount of seaweed was born and attracted a large number of jellyfish. In fact, this place is still a few 100 million kilometers away from the city in the sky. Invincible battle technique introduced the place to Wang Xian. The two of them stopped and floated in the sky. Let's go in. We will advance slowly from the edge. Wang Xian said to Invincible battle technique. In the entire Tianzi continent, humans occupied 6 portions of the territory while sea monsters occupied 14 portions. The reason why it was described as 14% was because the surface area was 40%, while the area of the underground sea was the surface of the sea and the land. This place could be considered as the surface area of the deep sea, and it was hundreds of millions of kilometers away from the nearest sky city, Kuala. The two of them entered the bottom of the sea. Unlike other sea areas, the sea here was colorful. There were floating seaweed and glowing jellyfish. Some of the huge jellyfish could cover an area of more than 10 kilometers. The colorful light shone on the bottom of the sea and the two of them flew straight down. They dived down for about 3,000 kilometers. Let's get to work. Wang Xian said to Invincible Battle Technique. All right, Boss Wang. Invincible Battle Technique was very enthusiastic as he said that. His body moved and he immediately flew forward. Wang Xian looked at his figure and a smile appeared on his face. He should have gained quite a lot this time. Buzz. After the formation was set up, Wang Xian's strength had greatly increased. Be it a defensive formation or an offensive formation, he was able to fight against the level 8 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord. With sufficient preparation and the assistance of the formation, he could also fight against 2 to 3 level 8 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord. I'll use the time when I'm invincible in battle to find sea monsters to learn a new array formation. Chapter 23-25. 23-25 2325 coveted it. Wang Xian's current strength had increased tremendously. However, his attainments in formations did not make up for the increase in his strength. He could use this period of time when he was invincible in battle techniques to search for sea monsters to learn new formations. With the guidance of the God of Heaven's formation and the use of his own attributes to cultivate formations, his speed was much faster. Time passed little by little. Wang Xian quickly grasped one formation after another. Boss Wang, kill them, kill them. 2 hours later, Invincible's furious voice rang out. Wang Xian opened his eyes and looked over. A faint smile appeared on his face. Good fellow, well done. Looking at the dozen or so sea monsters chasing behind Invincible, a smile appeared on his face. The Silver Spear sea monster had a spear-like head and wind attribute. It possessed the strength of a level 1 Eternal Lord. It was not bad to have such a sea monster as a battle pet. Boom. 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 There was no need for a formation when facing a level 1 Eternal Lord sea monster. With his current strength, he could directly rule it. A powerful dragon's might covered the area. More than a dozen of the Eternal Lord sea monsters trembled. Their faces were filled with fear and respect. Not bad, continue. Wang Xian moved his body and directly kept more than a dozen sea monsters into the motherness. This is so fast. Boss Wang is indeed much more powerful. Seeing how fast Wang Xian was taming his battle pet, Invincible Battle Technique revealed an excited look on his face. There was hope for the level 8 battle pet of the Eternal Lord. Invincible Battle Technique, who was full of fighting spirit, immediately flew out to attract the sea monsters. With the supreme treasure given to him by the Patriarch, even a peak-level Eternal Lord would find it difficult to defeat him. He was wreaking havoc in this sea area and there was no danger at all. Even if he was swallowed by the sea monsters directly, he would still be able to crawl out. Even if the place he crawled out from might be a little shameful, he didn't care. His fighting spirit was high. With such a perfect teammate, Wang Xian managed to tame more than 100 Eternal God Lord level sea monsters in the next 2 days. There were more than 100 of them. This was another huge amount of resources. What do you think, Boss Wang? There are 3 level 6 illusion color sea fish from the Eternal God level. Invincible Battle Technique stood in front and asked with a smile as he watched Wang Xian tame the illusion color sea. This illusion color sea fish is very suitable for a female powerhouse's mount. It's very beautiful. Do you want to use it to flirt with girls? Wang Xian said to Invincible Battle Technique with a smile. TSK, I'm invincible in battle tactics. I have a few billion beauties in my backup team. I don't want this illusion-colored sea fish. I don't like girls' playthings. Invincible in battle tactics was really inflated now. In the past, if he could obtain such a battle pet, he would be so happy that he could fly into the sky. However, now, he had a broad vision. At the very least, only a level 8 sea monster of the Eternal Lord would be suitable for his identity. Then you should continue to work hard. Wang Xian said with a smile. Don't worry. With my invincible battle technique, the entire underground sea is our backyard. All the sea monsters are our battle pet. As Invincible Battle Technique said that, he dashed out directly. Wang Xian smiled and looked at the background of his departure. It's about the same with getting more than 100 battle pets for Boss Wang. Next, should I look for my own battle pets? I wonder which battle pets will be fated to be with me. Hee. Invincible in battle techniques flew as he thought to himself happily. However, I can't be too obvious this time. I have to catch a few more level 8 sea monsters of the Eternal Lord. Otherwise, I'll be in debt again, he mumbled. This was a dog that can't change its spot. If Wang Xian knew what he was thinking at this moment, his face would definitely be extremely dark. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This is a school of Xingwen flying fish? Holy shit, how many are there? There are more than 200 of them. This is practically a school of the Eternal Lord. More than 200 Xingwen flying fish sea monsters flew over. Their imposing manner was like a rainbow, causing a huge commotion. The Xingwen flying fish sea monsters were at level 3 of the Eternal Lord. Well, since we have met them, why don't we lure them to Boss Wang? In the future, he probably won't talk to me about debts anymore. Boss Wang, oh Boss Wang, I've treated you well. As he spoke, his body moved and directly attacked the school of fish. You bunch of beasts, showing off like this in front of me, invincible battle technique. It's not like you don't want to live anymore. He attacked and roared at the same time. Roar, roar, roar. Furious roars came out from the mouth of the stellar flying fish. Seeing that someone actually provoked them, they directly attacked invincible battle technique. Beasts, if you have the guts, chase after me. Humph, humph, I don't even want trash like you to be my steed. He ran as fast as he could. Recently, he felt that his speed had increased a lot. He was running for his life every day, and his speed was almost approaching that of an Eternal Godlord rank 2 expert. This made him slightly proud. Shit, someone provoked the Xingwen flying fish school. Damn it, who is that guy? Just as invincible battle technique was running for his life with the school of fish, behind the school of star when flying fish, more than 10 people saw the school of star when flying fish suddenly flying forward, and their faces were filled with exasperation. Master Yuan Liang, what should we do now? A middle-aged man looked at an old man beside him and asked with some embarrassment. We were just trying our luck. It's our bad luck to be disturbed by someone. Master Yuan Liang, who was wearing a 100-beast costume, frowned and shook his head slightly. Now that the Xingwen flying fish school has been disturbed, the chances of them flying back to their nest are not high. We can only use our beast tamers to catch them directly. However, we only have 10 beast tamers in our hands. Whether or not we make a move depends on you, Master Yuan Liang said to the middle-aged man beside him. Catch 5. Although the beast tamers are extremely precious, as long as we can catch a level 3 Eternal Godlord star when flying fish, it's worth it. The middle-aged man hesitated for a moment before saying, all right, then we'll continue to follow behind and catch 5 of them by surprise and tame them. Master Yuan Liang nodded, and everyone immediately followed behind. Hey! That guy only has the strength of an Eternal God Lord level 1. Why did he provoke the star when flying fish? Moreover, the defensive treasures on his body are so powerful. More than 10 people followed behind, looking at the invincible battle technique being pursued with astonishment. With such weak strength, he still provoked the powerful sea monster. Wasn't he courting death? Invincible battle technique. He claims to be invincible in battle technique. He is that peerless heaven's favorite from the land of battle technique. What is he trying to do? Among the more than 10 people, when the only young man heard the voice coming from the front, a hint of jealousy flashed in his eyes. He seems to have obtained a rank 5 Eternal God Lord Ice Drill Crocodile some time ago, he said in a low voice, full of envy. Ice Drill Crocodile? It's abnormal. Master Yuan Liang, let's not make a move first and follow behind. Suddenly, the middle-aged man in the lead said in a low voice, his eyes shining. Okay. Master Yuan Liang nodded slightly. The invincible battle technique in front of him was indeed a bit strange. There must be something he wanted. Chapter 2326. 2326 2326 had his eyes on them. You bunch of bastards, just you wait. I'll teach you a good lesson later. Damn it, don't open your stinky mouth. Get lost. In the underground sea of the Sky Realm, invincible battle technique was located in the middle of the sea monsters. He was being attacked by the star-literate flying fish. Some of the star-literate flying fish were biting him, while others were flapping their wings. His entire body was like a rubber ball that was being attacked by the star-literate flying fish. He could only use some of the gaps to guide the sea monsters towards where Wang Xian was. Invincible, who had been under attack all this while, was cursing non-stop. If it wasn't for the fact that he happened to bump into this group of damn sea monsters, he wouldn't have been prepared to do such a job. This bunch of animals was really unlucky. The defensive treasures on Invincible's body are so strong. He actually survived such an attack. Invincible battle technique is the most outstanding disciple in the entire land of battle technique in the past 100,000 years. It's the same in the entire heavenly swamp continent. It's said that patriarch battle technique dotes on him very much. This defensive treasure should have been given to him by that godly monarch. Behind Invincible battle technique, more than a dozen people followed behind him. They were discussing softly as they watched the scene in front of them. Did you guys notice that Invincible battle technique is intentionally attracting the sea monsters in that direction? At this moment, an old man frowned and pointed in a direction as he said, That's true. Why is he attracting these sea monsters to that place? The rest of the people were deep in thought as they quietly followed behind. The eyes of the middle-aged man in the lead flickered as he had an uncertain guess in his heart. The group of people followed far behind. Invincible battle technique did not notice anything at all. Boss Wang, great harvest. Ha ha ha, great harvest. More than 200 starward flying fish, quickly praise me, ha ha ha. The group of people followed for an hour, and Invincible battle technique's excited voice came from the front. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, they saw a formation suddenly rise up. The formation covered an area of more than 100 kilometers, and Invincible battle technique and all the sea monsters were all covered. What's going on? At this moment, the people behind them revealed shocked expressions. Using the array to cover more than 200 star language flying fish sea monsters, ambush? Was the ambush effective? The Eternal God Lord level sea monsters could instantly escape if they were threatened. But if it was an ambush, why go through so much trouble? We seem to have encountered some secret. Master Yuan Liang narrowed his eyes and said indifferently, I have a premonition as well. The middle-aged man in the lead said the same thing. Be careful, don't be discovered. The middle-aged man reminded the people beside him, with the hidden items given to us by the patriarch, we shouldn't be discovered. An old man said with a smile. More than a dozen people floated there quietly. Looking around, they couldn't see anyone. A powerful hidden treasure covered them. A day passed quickly. The dozen or so people did not lose their patience. They stared at the area silently. The array formation has disappeared. Suddenly, sensing the change in front of them, the middle-aged man in the lead said, Boss Wang, we have tamed more than 200 war pets for you this time. These are more than 200 Tier 3 Eternal God Lord war pets. Are you considering giving me some rewards? Sure. I will definitely treat you well when the time comes. The array formation disappeared, and two figures appeared in their line of sight. When they heard the voice coming from the front, more than a dozen people were instantly stunned. How is this possible? How is this possible? How could those flying star fish be tamed? Master Yuan Liang's breathing was somewhat hurried, and his face revealed an expression of disbelief. As a formation master, he knew how difficult it was to tame sea monsters, especially the Eternal God Lord level sea monsters. The greatest difficulty was to bind them. To bind them, it was best to find their nest and prevent them from escaping. Otherwise, the sea monsters could escape in an instant. But now, listening to the previous words, the other party had tamed more than 200 starward flying fish sea monsters. How could this be? There were more than 200 level 3 Eternal God Lord sea monsters. That young man is the owner of the Dragon Palace's war pet. Master Yuan Liang said slowly. His eyes were burning. Dragon Palace's war pet? The others were also shocked. They knew that the Dragon Palace's war pet could sell more than 100 Eternal God Lord level war pets and more than 3,000 Peak God level icebreaking wolves in a shop. After the Dragon Palace's war pets advertised on the AI, Their names completely shook the entire Tianzi continent. Many people were extremely curious. Where did the Dragon Palace's war pets get so many war pets? It was fine if there were 10 or 8 of them, but it was so easy to get more than 100. This was too heaven-defying. However, what they didn't expect was that they would actually meet the Dragon Palace's war pet owner. It's indeed him. I've seen his photo. He seems to have had a conflict with the mysterious sky frontline experts in the mysterious sky domain. Someone in the AI said that he has the strength of an eternal god lord level 5. The only young man widened his eyes and exclaimed, "It seems that the array formation just now has some effects of the beast tamer ring, but it's even more powerful than the beast tamer ring. It can cover such a large area. It's unbelievable." The middle-aged man in the lead was a little shocked. An array formation could tame all the sea monsters. This was an array formation. It was simply unbelievable. They asked Master Yuan Liang to help them capture some powerful sea monsters and tame them as battle pets. They spent a huge amount of divine stones just to buy the beast tamer rings. It was not an exaggeration to say that the beast tamer rings in their hands were worth 10 eternal god lord tier 4 battle pet. Of course, the value of the beast tamer rings was not equal. They had beginner and intermediate beast tamers. Beast tamers could make a sea monster or desolate beast unable to return to its nest for a certain period of time. Taming it during this period of time would allow it to become a battle pet. It was made with the blood essence of a powerful sea monster and was extremely precious. The owner of the Dragon Palace's battle pet clearly had his own special method. No wonder the Dragon Palace's battle pets can have so many battle pets. They can capture more than 200 of them at once. If our divine pet pavilion could obtain such a method. Master Yuan Liang's breathing quickened and his eyes were burning. The Pet God Pavilion used to be the most powerful war pet shop in the entire Tianzi continent. They had branches in the 4 godly monarch areas and the royal family area of the Federation. There were also more than a dozen beast tamers. Even so, they could only obtain less than 30 eternal godlord level war pets every year. Most of them were low level. If such a method could be obtained, then, if such a method can be mastered, then the resources that can be obtained will be beyond everyone's imagination. It will even make the God King tempted. The middle-aged leader's heart moved, and his expression changed. Chapter 23-27. 23-27. We're rich. Below the sky-level sea area, over 10 people were breathing heavily as they stared ahead. They were all clear on the value of the war pets. On Tianzi continent, even if you could get over 10,000 eternal godlord level war pets, you could still sell them. How much were over 10,000 eternal godlord level war pets worth? These values, even undying emperors would be tempted. This was just the Tianzi continent. In the entire universe, trillions of planets, millions and millions of eternal god-level war pets could be sold. How much of a resource was this? If they could obtain such a technique to trap eternal god-level war pets, to them, this was an endless treasure trove. Who wouldn't be tempted? Especially to Master Yuan Liang, his heart was burning with passion. Master Yuan Liang, if we can obtain this kind of array formation, will we be able to tame thousands or even tens of thousands of eternal god war pets? The middle-aged leader suddenly turned to look at Master Yuan Liang and asked him with a burning gaze. If that array formation really has the effect of the beast tamer ring, with the help of an expert, we will be able to tame thousands or even tens of thousands of war pet. Master Yuan Liang looked at him, his heart slightly agitated. However, following that, he frowned slightly. A beast tamer master would need at least 1 to 2 months to tame an eternal god lord war pet. He tamed it so quickly. I wonder if it's because of the formation. If it's really because of the formation, then this formation is too heaven-defying. I'm afraid that even the greater world overlord faction doesn't have such a formation. He mumbled. It was very difficult to become a master beast tamer. There were only 30 master beast tamers in the entire Tianzi continent, and there were only 3 master beast tamers who could tame eternal godlord rank 5 and above. He was one of the 3. Even he had only tamed 2 eternal god lord rank 5 sea monsters in his entire life. Beast taming techniques were very difficult, and taming sea monsters was also very difficult. He did not believe that he could tame more than 200 Eternal God Lord rank 3 sea monsters in such a short period of time. Let's not talk about anything else. Just getting this array formation alone can bring us terrifying benefits. Should we? An old man's eyes flickered as he spoke, looking at the middle-aged man in the lead. His words caused the dozen or so people to calm down, and their eyes flickered with light. It's a little difficult to obtain something from an Eternal Godlord, but I have a confinement ring in my hands. A secondary confinement ring can restrain experts below the level 7 Eternal Godlord. The middle-aged man in the lead said slowly as he looked at the people around him. Oh, Tianya, you actually have this thing in your hand? The people around him looked at him in shock. There's one. Jing Tianya smiled slightly. Invincible in battle has a supreme treasure on him, and he has a godly monarch patriarch behind him. We can't fight him. A binding ring is enough. Didn't Little Sheep say that he only has the strength of an Eternal Godlord rank 5? He's not strong, so he can easily suppress him. An old man's eyes sparkled. They had already begun to discuss how to obtain the array formation that could trap the sea monster. Master Yuan Liang, what do you think? Jing Tianya asked Master Yuan Liang indifferently. If Sky City can really obtain such an array formation, our pet god pavilion is willing to join Sky City. Master Yuan Liang said without hesitation. Haha, good, good. Originally, I was only thinking of taming some of the Eternal Lord rank 5 or 6 battle pets. Now, it's not impossible for them to be even stronger. Jing Tianya revealed an excited expression. Third uncle, that invincible battle technique has left. He has gone to continue attracting sea monsters. At this moment, the only young man said excitedly. Everyone looked over, and the invincible battle technique figure quickly disappeared from their sight. I have a plan. Master Yuan Liang looked forward and said with a smile. Oh. They looked at him with a puzzled look. I have a level 5 Eternal Lord pet in my hand. We can enter the belly of the pet. Once the pet enters the area set up by the pet owner of Dragon Palace, he will activate the array formation. After the formation is activated, we may be able to capture it easily without using the confinement circle. Master Yuan Liang said with a smile. That's not a bad idea, but for safety reasons, we can directly use the confinement circle. We can't let him escape. Jing Tianya said coldly. Then we. According to Master Yuan Liang's method, we can also see the power of the formation. As a middle-aged man spoke, he was immediately interrupted by Jing Tianya. All right, that kid is setting up the formation. We'll get ready too. As Master Yuan Liang spoke, a door appeared behind him. Inside the door was a Tier 5 war pet of an Eternal Godlord, a golden rhinoceros. Its entire body was golden yellow, and its body size was around 10 meters. It was emitting a powerful might. The golden rhinoceros's belly might not be able to hold so many of us. We'll have to leave a few behind. Master Yuan Liang said to Jing Tianya. Little Sheep, Tianyun, Third Master, and the two of you stay here. Let's go. Jing Tianya immediately said. Okay. The 5 of them stayed here while the other 7 went over. The golden rhinoceros opened its mouth wide. Master Yuan Liang and the other 7 went straight into its stomach. Because they were battle pets, they would not be attacked by the golden rhinoceros. It's about time. Let's go. Through the gap in the golden rhinoceros mouth, they could see the situation outside. Jing Tianya immediately gave the order. Old Jin, go. Yuan Liang immediately gave the order to the golden rhinoceros. Roar. The golden rhinoceros let out a low roar and flew straight to the area in front. Hey! In the ocean ahead, Wang Xian had just set up a formation and was about to learn a new one when he suddenly sensed something in front of him. He looked over and revealed a stunned expression. Am I that lucky? Looking at the golden rhinoceros swimming towards him, he revealed a stunned expression. Just now, Invincible had brought over 200 flying fish war pets with him. Now, there was a level 5 Eternal Overlord golden rhinoceros. It seemed that even the heavens wanted him to make a fortune. I'm in. Seeing this golden rhinoceros entering the territory of the formation unscrupulously, Wang Xian revealed a smile. Buzz. Buzz. The black hole disturbance formation was activated instantly. Haha, my luck is here. I can't even block it. Wang Xian couldn't help but laugh out loud. He stared at the golden rhinoceros with a face full of smiles. The formation is activated. We're in. Get ready to make a move, haha. While Wang Xian was laughing out loud, the 7 people inside were also laughing out loud. Get out. Master Yuan Liang shouted softly. Imprison. Jing Tianya flew out instantly. A circle landed on Wang Xian's body and the 7 people flew out from the golden rhinoceros's belly instantly. Her. The 7 people flew out from the golden rhinoceros's mouth, causing Wang Xian to be slightly stunned. He raised his eyebrows slightly when he sensed the circle that was heading towards him. Haha, it's locked down. Jing Tianya couldn't help but shout excitedly when he saw the imprisonment circle hovering above Wang Xian. Tianya, I feel that I can't return to the Eternal Kingdom. It's a formation. Ha ha ha, it's this formation. We're rich, we're rich. Chapter 23-28. 23-28 The Fate of 2328 Idiot. An excited voice rang out from the black hole formation. At this moment, the 7 people who flew out from the golden rhino's belly were extremely excited. In fact, they were so excited that their bodies were trembling. Especially when they heard the words of the middle-aged man, their eyes were burning with passion. It was as though sparks could be seen in the ocean. All of them looked at their surroundings fervently. Even Wang Xian, who was in the middle, ignored them. Wang Xian was a little dumbfounded. The 7 people who appeared in the belly of the golden rhinoceros were all like retard. This was the first time Wang Xian saw someone so excited when he entered his black hole disturbance formation. There was also this thing above his head. It seemed to have a function similar to the black hole disturbance formation. Who are you guys? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows slightly and interrupted the excited expressions of the idiots as he asked them. You're the boss of the Dragon Palace's battle pets, right? No wonder you were able to get so many powerful battle pets. Impressive, really impressive. I didn't expect you to be an array master. Master Yuan Liang squinted his eyes slightly and praised Wang Xian with a smile on his face. What is the purpose of the few of you hiding in the belly of your battle pets? Wang Xian swept his gaze across the 7 of them. They were dressed in white with clouds embroidered on them. They were the powerhouses of Sky City. Purpose? The owner of the Dragon Palace's battle pets, right? I am the vice mayor of the northern city of Sky City. I wonder if you have any thoughts of joining Sky City? Jing Tianya said slowly to Wang Xian. No. Wang Xian's gaze landed on him and he shook his head coldly. Since you don't have any, then hand over the formation you set up to us. It can be considered as making friends with our Sky City. Jing Tianya didn't have any reaction to his rejection as he said with a smile. Hihi, why should I hand it over to you guys? Wang Xian now understood that the other party had noticed his formation at some point in time. The formation could trap sea monsters, and the old man standing on the war pet should be a beast tamer master. Wang Xian now completely understood their thoughts. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he glanced at the 7 of them in a teasing manner. I can't wait for you to agree or not. In a while, you will hand it over obediently, an old man said with a smile on his face. Come here. After he finished speaking, a middle-aged man at the side waved his arm. The water energy condensed into a huge palm and went straight for Wang Xian. You guys are really idiots who are looking for death. Wang Xian saw an Eternal Lord level 6 expert attacking him. A contemptuous smile appeared on his face as he waved his arm. Bang! His palm collapsed instantly. He slowly walked toward the group of people. Huh! Everyone was slightly stunned. Jing Tianya also raised his eyebrows slightly. His strength doesn't seem to be level 5 Eternal Lord level. He mumbled and shook his head nonchalantly. I don't have time to play with you here. Fall. The middle-aged man and another level 5 Eternal Lord powerhouse who had attacked Wang Xian immediately attacked him. I really don't know how the city in the sky could have such a bunch of idiots like you. Wang Xian saw the 2 people who were attacking him. He waved his arm and destructive energy fell directly on them. Oh no. This time, The two people who were attacking him felt the threat of death brought by the grey energy and their expressions changed drastically. They hurriedly fled to the side. This is bad. He is very strong. He is at least at level 7 of the Eternal Lord. Jing Tianya's expression changed slightly when he saw Wang Xian's attack. There were 12 people who came this time. Among them, the strongest one was at level 7 of the Eternal Lord and 3 were at level 6. The only young man who had just stepped into the Eternal Lord realm and the rest were all at level 5. This force was not weak. He could even fight against a level 7 sea monster of the Eternal Lord. Sensing the greyish energy, Jing Tianya immediately determined Wang Xian's strength. His body moved and a divine weapon that looked like a mirror appeared in his hand. Buzz! The white light on the mirror flashed and directly attacked Wang Xian. A bunch of trash. They actually wanted to ambush me. What a joke. When Wang Xian saw Jing Tianya making his move, his face was still filled with contempt. His arm shook and immediately transformed into a dragon claw. A dragon claw that was a few hundred meters in size attacked them. Buzz! When the dragon claw landed on the white light, it immediately wiped it away. The terrifying power that was filled with savagery fell towards them. He is an expert at level 8 of the Eternal Lord. He has mastered 8 laws. At this moment, Jing Tianya's expression changed drastically. He roared in horror. Oh! Now you know. You know that my formation can trap the Eternal Lord, but you still came in. What an idiot. Wang Xian said with a smile. This was the first time he had seen such a stupid person. He knew that the Eternal Lord wouldn't be able to escape even if he entered the formation. In the end, the other party came in hidden in the belly of the war pet. When he first entered, he realized that he couldn't return to the Eternal Lord. He was extremely excited and shouted that he had struck it rich. What the fuck? Wang Xian felt that fighting with them had affected his intelligence. Die. With a wave of his arm, a powerful dragon claw swept towards them. It's over. At this moment, the faces of the 7 people from the city in the sky turned extremely pale. The excitement from before were completely gone. They had thought that the other party only had the strength of a level 5 Eternal Godlord, but they had not expected that a level 8 was 3 levels higher than what they had expected. A person who had grasped 8 laws was simply impossible for them to contend against. Now that there was a formation, they could not return to the Eternal Godlord. They were finished. They were completely finished. Peng peng peng. The dragon claws descended, and powerful forces landed on their bodies. No, no, don't kill us. We are from Sky City, don't kill us. A middle-aged man hurriedly roared. It has nothing to do with me. Let me go, let me go. Master Yuan Liang's face was also filled with fear as he cried out involuntarily. Who would have thought that such a comical scene would happen? They were simply here to die. Let you guys off. HMPH, if you guys are stronger than me, would you let me off? Wang Xian's eyes revealed a hint of coldness. Although these guys were extremely stupid, they had the intention to harm others. If he didn't achieve a breakthrough, he would be completely screwed this time. Boom! A destructive dragon claw swept past and the 7 of them were sent flying. They spat out fresh blood. Wang Xian waved his arm and the greyish chains wrapped around them. No. Jing Tianya's face was filled with horror. His face was filled with resentment, unwillingness, and fear. They rushed in with excitement. They thought they would obtain endless treasures, but they never expected that what they obtained was death. Soul Catcher. The 7 of them had no strength to resist against Wang Xian, who was in such an area. The chains wrapped around his body and pulled him to the front. Then, he used the soul-absorbing power. Chapter 2329. 2329 2329 Underground Sea Monster Nest Map. Ah! Screams of agony came out from the mouths of the people. Soul capture and order them to summon their eternal divine kingdom. Wang Xian was already familiar with such matters. Wang Xian took off their interspatial rings and took a look at their eternal divine kingdom. There were quite a lot of good things, but many Wang Xian didn't like them and directly threw them into the Dragon Palace. Not only did they send over the corpses of 7 powerhouses, but they also sent over a large amount of resources. They are really good people, Wang Xian said with a smile on his face. He looked at the interspatial ring in his hand. There were 7 of them, and they were all very big. There were quite a number of divine stones and pills inside. These are the beast tamer's rings? In Jing Tianya's interspatial ring, Wang Xian saw 10 rings. As a master beast tamer, he knew a little about beast tamer's rings even if he didn't need them. Beast tamer's rings are extremely precious. They aren't even sold in Tianzi continent. He has 10 of them in his possession. He really invested a lot. No wonder this guy who has mastered the 7 laws doesn't have anything good. Wang Xian looked at the beast tamer's ring in his hand and mumbled. Although he couldn't use the beast tamer rings, he could sell them. At the corner of the interspatial ring, Wang Xian suddenly saw a piece of cloth. The cloth was made from the skin of a powerful sea monster. There were dense words and patterns on it. With a wave of his arm, the cloth appeared in his hand. The cloth was about the size of a square meter. When it was unfolded, it was a map. Treasure map. No, this is. He squinted his eyes slightly and looked at the information on it. Earth Chilean turtle sea monster nest map. Is this real or fake? Wang Xian sized it up carefully, and his eyes sparkled. The sea monster nest was exactly the same as the sea monster nest that he came to for the first time. As long as he could find the nest of the sea monster, it would be much easier to subdue it. If he could escape, he wouldn't be able to escape. If he could find the nest of the sea monster, he would be able to tame the sea monster. More and more beast tamers in the greater world were searching for the nest of the sea monster and taming it. This map was a map of the nest of the Earth Chilean turtle in the underground sea. It's located at the deepest part of the underground sea, which is the 10th level. It's more than 100 million kilometers away from the surface of the sea. Wang Xian mumbled. He didn't have much doubt about this map. In the deepest part of the underground sea, most of the nests of the Eternal Lord sea monsters were located there. A few immortal king-level existences were also located at the deepest part. The Earth Chilean turtle is an Eternal Lord level 7. I can go and take a look. If there's any danger, I can escape quickly. As for encountering the immortal king sea monsters, I shouldn't be so unlucky. His eyes flickered. He felt that he could go and take a look. However, he wasn't prepared to take the risk for the time being. Money boy. Wang Xian smiled and prepared to deactivate the formation. Why aren't third uncle and the rest out yet? It's been a while. At the position outside the formation, the only young man among the dozen of them looked at the formation in front of him and asked anxiously. We should be interrogating that guy. Hihi, when our Sky City obtains such a formation, the ancestor will definitely reward us greatly. In the future, we will also get some of the battle pets resources. Who knows, our Sky City might be able to produce even more undying emperors. An elder beside said excitedly. If they could obtain the formation to trap the Eternal God Lord level sea monster, their Sky City might rise up quickly. At the very least, they would be able to get the Grand Elder's reward. Maybe we can build a pet shop that is even more powerful than the Dragon Palace's war pet. The young man cracked a smile. The 5 of them stood beside the array and waited with anticipation and excitement. Buzz. At this moment, the array trembled slightly. The array is about to break. An old man roared in a low voice. Buzz buzz. The black hole disturbing the air formation slowly dissipated. When Jing Tianya and the others were surrounded by the formation, the 5 of them flew over and waited at the edge of the formation. Now that the formation had disappeared, the scene inside appeared clearly in his sight. However, when they saw a figure inside, the 5 of them were completely stunned. Where are third uncle and the rest? The young man's expression changed slightly as he said in a low voice. Hey! There are actually 5 people who are courting death outside. When Wang Xian saw that there were actually 5 people waiting outside, he raised his eyebrows slightly. Buzz. Without any hesitation, he waved his arm and numerous chains attacked them. Oh no, Tianyi and the rest must have been killed. Run. The moment he saw Wang Xian making his move, an old man shouted at once. Third uncle and the rest have been killed. The young man's body trembled and his face turned pale instantly. He quickly fled into the distance. At the same time, Their figures gradually turned illusory. Heh! When Wang Xian saw them fleeing in an instant, the chains immediately turned into long blades and slashed towards their bodies. Flee, flee, he killed the deputy mayor and the rest. Everyone's eyes were bloodshot as they fled frantically. Buzz. One by one, their figures turned illusory. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. While they were fleeing, the long sabers slashed at their bodies. Ah! Screams of pain rang out. 3 of them had their arms chopped off instantly. In fact, half of their bodies were chopped off. Ah! 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 Another 2 people's blood-curdling screams rang out. The young man was cut in half from head to toe by the long saber. However, the long saber didn't land on him completely, causing his body to disappear. Only a middle-aged man was the first to escape from Wang Xian's attack. It's indeed a little difficult to kill. Although most of the 5 people were severely injured in an instant, they still managed to escape. Wang Xian frowned slightly but didn't pay too much attention to it. Among them, 4 of them were severely injured. He used his destructive energy to attack them. If the few of them wanted to recover, even if they had elixirs, it would take them decades. If they didn't have elixirs, it would take them more than 1,000 years. Wang Xian's destructive power of the 5 elements wasn't so easy to eliminate. Without the help of a powerhouse, the most miserable young man would almost certainly die. Will I be able to survive if I escape? If you want to get the formation from me and kill me, you must be prepared to be killed. As Wang Xian spoke, he swung his arm at the severed limbs and fresh blood in front of him. Even if he escaped, the curse could still kill him. Let's try the curse formation that I have mastered over the past few days. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly. He immediately began to set up the formation in front of him. A formation took a total of 3 minutes. The main reason was that Wang Xian was not too familiar with it. Buzz. He threw a severed limb into the formation and the strange formation began to rotate. How can this be? How can this be? I don't want to die. I don't want to die. At the city in the sky. The entire city in the sky was divided into 18 cities. Each city was managed by a city lord and 2 deputy city lords. In the northern city, an old man with a broken arm appeared in his divine kingdom and let out a desperate scream.